Well, hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends. And of course, I am your host, Mr. Boomstick XL, and we have an action-packed show ready for you here today. In the background, if you were someone that did not get the invite from 343 Industries, you're going to see almost 2 hours of footage from the flighting beta, which, by the way, Mr. Boomstick played to the point of delirium, folks. I played Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday until they told me that I was no longer authorized to play the beta at 10 a.m. when they pulled it offline. And my God, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into some Halo talk. 343 Industries, in my opinion, have completely knocked it out of the park. They have really made this feel like a next-gen version of Halo 3, my favorite Halo. But listen, before we get into the introductions, before we get into the topics, there are two things that I kind of want to throw out there as precursors. First, I got to offer up an apology to the community simply because Friday morning's Breakfast with Boom was originally planned as hands-on experience with, of course, the beta. Now, the beta got delayed. So what wound up happening is we talked about the Ascent being literally review bombed, potentially because it's an Xbox exclusive. And then we got into the second half of the show talking about how Sony is charging, and I don't want to say the curse, it's the a-hole tax that everyone talks about with the extra $10 and how this is going to become a running problem. Now, because of my excitement for the beta, I, as who takes these shows super seriously, forgot to change the thumbnail and advertise it the correct way. So a lot of people were like, wait, I'm tuning in for this. And it wasn't that. It's because obviously it was all on me, but that has been fixed. We had two amazing guests. Obviously, Kay Asante was a part of that conversation along with Mav from Fun Speculation. And it was one of the best shows of the year, and at least in my opinion. And if you missed out on that, please go check it out. Everything has been, the show notes are correctly fixed. The timestamps are correctly fixed. And the other thing is this. I have a lot of moderators here. Everyone on the panel is a mod, as well as, of course, the sheriff, known as Lethal Papa. I'm just throwing this out there. I don't want to be the a-hole of the group. If you're here to have good banter and talk with us and have fun with the rest of the community, you're welcome. If anyone, and I mean anyone, tries to drop spoilers about Halo Infinite's single player, you're getting a permaban. And when every time you come back with a new name, I'm going to report you and I'm going to permaban you again. Don't drop spoilers in my chat for this game. Don't be an a-hole. Don't be that guy or gal. If you do, you're getting banned permanently. And you're never coming back. Siberia, you're going, and hopefully you freeze to death because that's the way it's going to work. So, wow, let's get into. Right. You like
you
that,
hear that,
right?
Pong Soul?
Yeah, I do. I was about to drop spoiler, but I don't have any interest in Siberia.
Now you're not going to. Well, anyway,
no.
Speaking of Pong Soul, let's introduce the special guest tonight. Now, originally, this was supposed to be a crossover between Living Split Screen and, of course, Primetime Gaming. Unfortunately, Steel Rain could not make it due to work, so we're going to do that crossover eventually. But Pong Soul, you're here. How the heck are you? What's going on, bro?
Oh, look, it couldn't get any better than this, Boom. I get you tonight. I get you tomorrow morning. Yes. This is the way it's supposed to be, right? Doesn't get any better than this. Thank you for keeping the invite open for me. It is too bad that Steel could not be here because he really wanted to be here. But again, real life happens, and he got some good things going on with real life. So you got to make that schedule change. So that's okay. So I'm going to pick up the slack tonight, anyways. But man, what a week of gaming. What a weekend of gaming. Are you kidding me right now? It's been absolutely incredible. I had so much fun with the Halo tech review, tech beta, whatever you want to call it at this point. Just had a blast with that. And of course, the Ascent. I put a ton of hours into the Ascent.
Ridiculously
loving that game. Again, another reason why we should never listen to reviews is that game right there. I know some people got a different opinion, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with it. Just saying, it is a blast. It is a fun game and well worth the price of admission, which is Game Pass. So great to be here, Boom. Thank you so much. And we got a lot of topics. Let's get down to it.
We actually do have a lot of topics, and in the back end of the show, the rest of the remainder of the show, we're going to be seeing some of the Ascent gameplay. It's a game that I gave a 9.5 out of 10. It's currently my game of the year, right next to Death's Door. I don't know if that's going to change as we get closer with other games like 12 Minutes coming out and a few others, as well as, of course, Halo Infinite, which is poised to be absolutely incredible. But let's get into the rest of the introductions. We're going to start first. First of all, I want to start with Wandering Dutch. He is the last gentleman to join this show, but super, super excited to say that his channel, folks, thanks to your help, has hit 1,000 subs. The hardest working dude in podcasting. He's a community member extraordinaire. How the hell are you feeling, Dutch, that you hit the 1,000?
Absolutely amazing, and thank you to everybody in the community as well, and all the support. It's not just a great day for me, but obviously, as you've probably seen on Twitter now, our comedies has also smashed through 4,000 subs as well. So 2 of the midweek mix-up and Primetime Gaming panel members have both hit major milestones in the space of a couple of days there. So amazing couple of days, and again, thank you to everybody here and everybody within the community that's got us to those major milestones.
Well, it's great to have you a part of this show, and it's great that you're seeing success, and it's well-deserved. That is for sure. Next up is someone that was with us on Friday. We got a chance to talk about the slander that was coming in on the Ascent, and obviously you saw the gameplay then. You're going to see it later on. I actually don't know what the hell they're playing, but I'm enjoying it. Kay Asante, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely great. So it's good to be here. Pong, I've been wanting to podcast with you for a while now. We're always in the same chats together for some reason. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I was going to say, normally I'm in the chat saying hi to all of you tonight, but man, yeah, definitely Kay Asante, a little special being on first show with you. So absolutely.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. We had fun this weekend. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Everborn, man, I missed you, man. We was tearing fools apart online, man. You should have been there.
I know. I mean, we did get a couple of games in. We got a couple of matches in on Friday night or Thursday, Saturday, whenever it was.
So for all those who weren't able to join us, you can live vicariously through the awesome gameplay that Boom has for us.
Yes,
the chat's ready to go, and so are the panelists. I'm excited to be here. Let's get to it.
Well, thank you for being here. And speaking of Everborn Saga, obviously you have now added, 17 puppies to the families. That's going to be difficult.
Yeah. That is why I couldn't be on Halo as much as this weekend as I want. We just got 3 new puppies.
I'll say this. It's the only reason why I haven't pulled your card and put it back in my pocket, because Kay Asante and I, we were having a meeting, and you know what? We said, okay, for puppies, we will allow it. So
I'm good, man. I'm good. I spent the whole day trying to name these guys. 3 boy Yorkies, but other than that, been doing a lot of gaming this week. Pong, you are so right. This week was extraordinary. I'm still not done with the Ascent. Every time I beat a boss in that game, I just post it as another one. I played a little bit of the Ascent, and I think people I don't understand why, and I know we'll get into this, but it is Metro UK why the score is what it is. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. The game was reviewed by 22 people on PC and 15 people on the Series X. And on the Series X, it was tracking the same amount as PC, which is 75, which I think is a good score considering the bugs that it has. Right. But Metro UK gave it a 2 out of 10. And that is the thing that sank the score. And that is all. So if you look at the game, you look at the PC score, that's really what it is if you look at it all together, because there are no differences other than some performance differences that you will get if you have a higher end video card, but that it's the same game. So the game is really, when I look at the Metacritic, I think a 75, which for now I think is fair. And with some polishing, I think this thing could be 80, 85 because it's really good, but that's not what we're talking about now. We're introducing me, and great week. Halo, Flight Sim, Ascent, and Death's Door, all in the span of about 7 days. Wow. So I'm ready to go, man. I want to talk about all these things.
Yeah, we're going to get into it. Folks, if you didn't know, if you didn't read the thumbnails, the show is going to go is we're going to open up with delay of Horizon Forbidden West. No big surprise. I've been saying that for months. But I think Sony's in a little bit of trouble, folks. To be honest with you, I think they might be caught with their pants down versus the Xbox. I would even dare say versus the Switch, because outside of Kena, which was delayed until September, there really isn't for anything for Sony first party, and they're going up against Microsoft, who is not only has Game Pass in tow, right, with all the incredible value that comes, but you're also getting games like Death's Door, even though it wasn't in there. Power price at $20 is doing great. But you're also adding more, to this delicious banana float sundae that I have in front of me. You're getting Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5.
Psychonauts 2.
Psychonauts
2. But don't down PlayStation, because they do have an Xbox Studios game.
Well, at least they have that.
Now you're being messy. So, come on now.
Look, when I'm just saying.
Listen, we'll get into it, folks. Let's continue with the introductions. Now, I'm going to save. God, why am I losing my chain? I'm going to save middle-aged gamer guy for last, because it's a special announcement. Apparently, we're having another guest on top of Mag. It's his alter ego known as Tony Baloney, or Bologna, whatever you want to call it. He's pissed, and he has a lot to say. Tempest Son, welcome back, bro. You've been out for a while. You're back. Your mic is fixed. You got the wire. Welcome, dude. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling good. Good to be back. Actually, really excited for the topics, and that's in spite of knowing that I'm one of the only few schmucks on the planet that didn't get to play Halo, it seems. So,
I mean, I don't think you're the only one. There's a lot of people that wish to. I will say this. I doubt anyone from 343 listens to this small program, but if you are listening, what I'm hoping happens is that we do get another beta.
I'm sure
obviously, this time where it's going to be PvP.
Well, I got to test out Big Team Battle. That's a big deal with vehicles.
I agree. That's my favorite mode of all Halo modes is Big Team Battle. I like the monster vehicles and the long runs across the playing field. I'm looking forward to that. What I'm hoping is that they give folks that didn't get the original invite a chance to participate.
Well, boom. Speaking of the not getting the original invite, I played a little game on Twitter, and I looked back at all the people who were concerned about whether 343 could deliver a game. And they were concerned about Craig. And then those same people were crying that they didn't get into the beta.
But Everborn, did you see the fruit physics? Did you see
I saw the fruit physics.
The fruit physics were real.
It's the new Craig.
Listen, I said this before, like after they did the multiplayer reveal, but now even more, it is so good that Halo fans have 343 and Halo fans have taken control of the narrative around this game, because I felt like it was fighting an uphill battle, and in some ways it is, but it is charging up that hill full steam right now, and it's good, man. It's good.
Well, I don't know how much more we're gonna talk about it, but as an outsider looking in, I've got honest truth. I really don't know if I've ever seen so much just rampant positivity about
it's funny,
something like this before.
We're
like
going to get
test.
You know what? I want to get into that specifically because I think it's important to open the show with it. But let's get Mag. First of all, Mag, welcome to the program, brother. It's great to have you back. I know you have a lot to say, especially regarding the. Listen, I'm going to say this. If Microsoft does something that I find to be ridiculous, I'm going to call it out. I've called them out numerous times before. That's just the way it works, right? That's the way it works for all of us. Oh, did somebody flush something? Holy cow.
Somebody's taking a leak.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Everborn.
That's my water machine.
Oh,
I
okay.
was-
Sure.
Sure it was.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. What I have noticed regarding the whole SSD controversy, and again, we're gonna back end the show with that, is people making excuses for Sony's behavior on how they treat the fans. And I'm a fan, folks. I have 3 controllers, I have a charging stand, I have a headphones, I got a camera, and I got a PS5. I'm all in. So if you tally all of that, I've spent well over $1,000. We're not even talking games, so I can have a spiked opinion, if you will. This whole thing with the SSD, I understand for some it's plug and play. I understand that for a lot of people it's not that big of a deal. But when you bring the normies in on the conversation, it is a big deal. And people making excuses for this. People making excuses for the $70 game. People making excuses for no cloud saves. If you were a PlayStation 4 player and you didn't upload them or backload them or reload them, you're shit out of luck. Stop making excuses for Sony. Just stop it. Because the more excuses you make for this piece of plastic that you're bowing to each and every day you get up, they're going to keep giving it to us. And you know something? It's crazy that I bet you the same people that are capping for this company don't buy it half as much as the people on this panel, and that's why I'm pissed. But listen, again, let's before we get into any more Sony slander, because there's going to be quite a few of it, we got to talk about Halo, folks. Listen, Tempest, I want to go to you first on this because you hit the nail on the head. You didn't get in on the beta, and that's okay. But it's what you're talking about that's super important. The goodwill, the excitement. I'm getting goosebumps, folks. I became Peter Parker this weekend because I put up so much video and took so many pictures. It was ridiculous. In fact, I took so many pictures that I didn't even want to use my Elite 2.0 with the half pull triggers that I have, because obviously that makes you a better gamer, right? Because I didn't want to have to push the guide button and then move it around. I wanted to take pictures instantaneously. Talk about the goodwill. Talk about the excitement that Halo brought for a beta.
Well, I get goosebumps too thinking about it because it's been a really long time since I've seen this much excitement over Halo, honestly. I mean, I was personally excited for Halo 4 and 5, but because it was the new company doing it, it just, for a lot of people, it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And from everything I'm gathering, haven't played it myself, but everything I see, everything I'm hearing about it, is everybody has their own Halo that they think it makes them feel like, but they pick out their favorite. They say, if Halo's 3s are fail, maybe it made me feel like Halo 3. Oh, it makes me feel like I'm playing Combat Evolved, and Halo is just, dude, it's something special. Like, when I think of it, I think a lot of the design, and I think like Aliens, because a lot of their design was, to speak honest, was just ripped from Aliens, and that's why I love it. I think of a lot of the stuff, the design choices they made originally, and there's just not quite anything like it. I mean, not even like Mass Effect. That's like a whole nother thing. So Halo's is just in its own little, bubble here, and I just, I honestly do adore it, and seeing this much positivity on it finally. And listen, this time last year, was there any positivity for Halo?
No, there was not. No.
None. So just with the E3 show and this technical test, and I tell you what, was there any downtime? Was there any actual problems with this technical test? I mean, it seems like it just was like flawless practically, right?
Day one, there was some problems.
Right.
But once they got it sorted, it was pretty much good.
They got it sorted rather quickly. I came across a couple of freezes. I came a couple of sound issues, which when they put out the the questionnaire tomorrow, I'm going to be answering folks. And here's the thing. I know we're going to get into everyone's opinion on the beta, but if you did play it, I'm not saying you owe anyone anything. I'm saying that if you played it, fill out the questionnaire tomorrow if you came across any bugs. One particular one that I didn't see anybody. I was playing the beta. I shut everything off. I turned my console back on to jump back into the beta, and I have no sound. And I'm like, okay, so I unplug it, hard reset it. I did that 3 times. And I'm not getting any sound. I'm like, what the? So Mrs. Boomstick, who is not a tech person, she's like, did you check your settings? I'm like, well, no, because I didn't change anything. Something happened with the beta where it made it
like the
headphones only.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't getting any sound, and I'm like, oh, well, there you go, it fixed it. So yeah, there were some things.
The other thing is, before this came out, I watched all the videos and the devs speaking stuff on their stream. This is like a 2-month-old build as well.
I know, isn't that crazy?
It's not even up to date. So that's just the reception of it and how exciting it is, as a Halo fan to see this much, happiness about it. But from somebody just watching all the footage and everything like that, the few key takeaways for me is the weightiness of it. It doesn't appear to be as floaty, which is big for me. That's one of the few things that I wish they would have changed a while ago. It seems like it feels weighty. The weapons, they look like they're very, very punchy. But honest, for me, I'm a sound guy.
They sounded fantastic, dude.
Yeah, the sound, dude. I listen to clips of this, and every time I do, I get goosebumps, bro. It just it sounds so good, and I'm not even playing it. Like, I have a home theater set up and everything, so I'm like, really, I'm ready for it, man. I want it super bad. So yeah, it's exciting stuff. And also, this isn't we're talking about Halo here, but my goodness, do you realize in the last 2 weeks how much awesomeness has been on this platform?
Crazy. Yeah.
It blows. I've never seen anything like it, to be quite frank with you. And it's going to keep going. It's nuts, guys. It's a good time to be an Xbox fan. I'll tell you what. So.
Yeah, it is absolutely a great time. As a matter of fact, we were talking about that in the green room, folks. If you're not part of Game Pass, you're clearly missing out on the conversation of value of what is coming, what has been delivered. Wandering Dutch he just recently posted before we went live a bunch of new pictures and video of Flight Sim, which he's addicted to, folks. There is so much gaming going on that I haven't even opened up my flight stick to play this game yet, and I cannot wait to play this game. But
too many games.
Yeah,
that's many games.
That's exactly it. But you know what? Let's get to our special guest, Pong Soul. Let's talk Halo beta. I gotta be honest with you. Outside of the little tick here and there, this didn't feel like a beta. This straight up felt like Halo. For me, it gave me the Halo 3 feels, and I couldn't do it. Listen, I'm a selfish gamer, right? I want the single player, story driven, selfish experience. There is one franchise outside of Titanfall and Division that get me out of the chair, and it's Halo. What are your thoughts on this?
Look, I always say it every time because I start out any Halo conversation because it is such a gigantic franchise that I am a casual Halo fan. I am not a fanatic or hardcore or fan. So when I come with my opinions, they come from just a casual fan. But at the same time, this got me. I was hyped because I do like Halo. I absolutely go in and I play the single player campaigns and I'll fool around in the multiplayer. I don't get competitive with Halo. So the multiplayer to me is, for, getting together with buddies and grouping up and getting together and just having a good time, right? That's what it is about for me. But this Halo right here, since I have, played them all at some point in my life, felt the best that it has felt since I would say probably Reach for myself, right? Maybe 3 in there, obviously, as the gold standard. But that is the type of feeling I got from this. I absolutely love the movement, the fluidity of this is incredible. Tempest hit on something when he talked about how just from the videos, he could tell that it wasn't floaty. You're absolutely right, Tempest. It feels like you have weight with every single movement, but balanced, right? Just like a Spartan should. How they fixed, what was it really? It was the smallest of things, but it kind of speaks to how everybody's talking about the positivity within the community, the Halo community. All kind of one voice, whether you're an old timer or whether you're a new person looking at this game, playing this game. The smallest detail was the sprint. and how they got everybody to actually agree, okay, this is your point amongst some people, is whether or not a Halo should have sprint. And for them to have the ability to tweak the sprint so that it's just slightly faster than your normal walk movement and get everybody to agree that it feels just about right, that speaks volumes to what they accomplished with this tech review, at least to me from the outside looking in. I couldn't believe it because I was expecting to see all the haters. I was not expecting the fruit physics, but I was expecting the sprint to come back into play again with the two sides fighting over it. But they didn't. They didn't. Everybody agreed. It was almost perfect, right?
Yeah.
What they could do with it. The weapons were absolutely incredible. Each one felt different. Each one does have punch, Tempest. Each one does have its unique sound, which is absolutely incredible. I was listening to it, and obviously on the headphones, and you could pick out each individual gun from across the arena. Whoever was firing it, you could pick out what they were firing. That's how different the sounds are. That is something special right there in itself. They went back and shout out, I got to give a couple shout outs here. First of all, shout out to Phil and his team for making the courageous decision to delay this for a year.
Yes.
Shout out to them. Again, I'm sure Phil had the final say. I'm sure it was a group effort, and it was a group, obviously collective kind of discussion, because it was going to be a huge deal. Think about the millions of dollars that they already spent in marketing last year that we saw that had come out because the deals were done. Can you imagine Phil walking into Satya's office and say, we blew about 40 mil, boss. Sorry, we're going to have to delay it for a year, right? That can't be an easy discussion. But at the same time, they did it, right? And they made that move, and now we see the fruits of that year off. And then
hey, Pong, just one thing to add to your point.
Yeah,
them delaying it a year probably cost them $1 billion.
Oh, Garrett,
easy. And that would
it.
have gone on their fiscal year 21.
Right.
Another $1 billion from the Xbox division, and they basically deferred that. All the sales, all the marketing, all the other things that they took the loss on, but they did it. So you are absolutely right. But it's not just millions.
Right.
They lost at least $1 billion doing it.
I was picking out the easy visual one for everybody because the marketing is the easy, because we saw it, right? We saw it all the cans and everything else, right? We knew that it was there. But you're absolutely right, Everborn. It was a lot more than that at the end of the day. And then my second shout out goes to Joseph Staten for him coming in and really, and again, we'll never know the internal workings, and I'm not going to sit here and try to claim. It's just an outside looking in perspective, but to see how the team has come together, and ever since they announced him, there has been a stabilization of this entire dev process. Right. There has just been a extreme focus, not to say that the devs weren't focused before, not to say they were all just kicked up, feet on their desk going, hey, we'll finish it when we finish it. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying, though, is to bring in a guy so heavily tied to the old Halo, the one that became a pillar of video games, that changed first-person shooters on consoles forever. That guy to come in, and you could just tell that he brought everybody together and said, look, it's time to get down to business. We got a year. We've been given this grace period of a year. We're going to make this right. And whether it has been their communications to the community, whether it has been the regular updates to the community, letting everybody know where they're at and what they've been up to get to this point, this weekend, to release a 2-month-old build that plays as well as it did. Yes, there's issues, but we all knew there was going to be. They even warned us, hey, look, this is going to get buggy, whatever the case may be. But to come out of that, get it launched, have the servers respond fairly well considering how much traffic there was going to be and how heavy it was going to be, and to make everybody happy at the end of the day, everybody come out praising this and saying, look, 3 maps down, it's looking great. Just keep doing what you're doing. And to have everybody in the community almost to a T agree upon that this is one of the best Halos that they've played in a very, very long time. And the potential, there are people saying right now, there is a potential that this multiplayer could go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, just from this small sampling. Again, assuming everything comes together. That is something special, and a lot of that has to go. a lot of that credit has to go to Joseph Staten. So again, I came out of this weekend even more hyped for the Halo than I was. It is definitely something I can't wait to have drop and land and go and hop in with, everybody from the community and play around and just have a really great time. Because again, even as a casual Halo fan, I recognize the excellence that came out of this weekend. And to me, that is what it was all about. I can't wait.
Listen, all I can say is that the Needler is back, folks.
Yes, yes.
Man, did that thing have some punch?
Yes, it did.
It's my favorite weapon. That and the machine gun the new machine gun that goes into like the down sights.
I don't know, Boom. That the new pistol is clean.
Yeah, it is clean.
The Bulldog was my special of the weekend. Nice. That thing was crazy.
Look at this pack. Oh, look at that. I love it. Look at it right there, right on your triple kill, right there on your screen, folks. Yeah, don't mess with Boomstick. I get the name for something. Anyway, Asante, let's get to you, brother, because you got a chance to play it. You were invited. Yeah. Unfortunately, Team Slander was busy with puppies. He got a chance to play for a little bit. We'll get to him next on it. But dude, we got a chance to play, and it was glorious.
Indeed, it was.
This was the Halo that I have been calling for since Halo 3. I understand there are a lot of people like, well, no, Reach was really good. Listen, I'm an OG. You know what I'm saying? And Halo 3 is my jam. And this felt like it really just gave me the feels. What were your takeaways from this, man?
So just so folks can understand where I'm coming from with it, I appreciate Pong saying that he's a casual Halo player. I am a diehard, like from OG. But see, I'm very weird though. OG, love the Halo franchise. I barely ever play multiplayer, like ever. I have played the single player multiple times. I am this much of a fan. This is the Halo book. It has every story from beginning to end. I bought this in preparation for Infinite because the same people that directed Infinite are the ones that wrote this. You should check it out on Amazon. It's really cool. It fills in a lot of gaps, needless to say. But so another plug. I have a achievement hunting group on the Xbox Live called Halo MCC Achievement Club, where I have been hunting down all of the single player achievements for 4 or 5 years now for Halo MCC. I've been playing them over and over again, trying to just this single player achievement. So I'm a huge fan, specifically of the campaign. I dabble in the multiplayer, but I always stay for the achievement for the single player because you get older, your skills are not as what they used to be. Eventually, you get worked as it were. You got to
very true.
It is what it is. But I will say when this opportunity came up and we were like, I initially jumped in. I jumped in on PC just to test it out. Tried the gunplay in the academy. Very cool. I'm looking forward to them broadening that academy. Like really putting some real beyond the stationary situation. There should be more kind of almost like a Metal Gear Solid VR levels, if you will, like a real educational academic spot where you can actually go there and test your guns and all that. What they actually showed there was really, really awesome. Beyond that, we jumped in. Man, I couldn't stop playing.
Yeah.
It's the weekends, you're with the kids, you're with the wife, but I had to carve out some time whenever I got the opportunity to. I think we started playing with you first. I was in there with Cyber, and we got you on there. We were playing for a couple hours. That was really awesome. Later on, I got back on. I was playing with Ainsley from Season Gaming. That was really cool. We got to play with him and Cotton.
That guy's a living assassin. He's
that dude. He's boss. We was housing.
Did anybody get to play with Leviathan Gamer?
No,
not me. No.
He is a beast. You should. He's probably one of the better Halo players out there. But
I'm looking forward to testing. No, I'm looking forward to trying out because after getting into the multiplayer, it reminds you of why Halo was the reason why everybody started playing multiplayer. It just has this, the teamwork and the way the guns feel and some of the great new maps that just feel like they're a glove. They feel like they belonged in Halo. All this. My favorite being Recharge. You can run and gun like a crazy person in that map. You could just keep going straight. Just keep going. You're always killing people. You'll check the Twitter for all the various people I've been murking on that. So I really do love it. I will say, for those who are saying that there have been some issues, I did notice a few issues here and there, but obviously it's a beta. We did notice that, and as Boom said, if you did play, you should definitely do some updates and let them know that,
Yes.
when it comes up. I've been a part of the Halo Insider thing for a long time, so when this
Since
came up, I knew
2014 Master
for a
Chief
long
Collection.
time. Yeah. Since the Master Chief Collection, I've been a part of the Halo Insider program. So I was hopeful that I was going to get in, and I got in here as well. There are a lot of black screens. I think you even saw that on a little bit of your footage there,
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah.
On mine, some of them were long, like almost 30 seconds to a minute and a half. Black screen with little dots on the side. That was a little bit weird. I got stuck in the world a couple times. Like, you can hear the rest of your teammates going. They can see you throwing a grenade, which all you see is just the screen, like a scene in the screen, but you don't see yourself. Weird little issues like that. I kept clipping. I think I also got the sound issue you did as well, Boom. But besides that, at the end of the day, they came out with confidence. They showed an old build that they knew had issues. They came out front and said, it has issues, right? They did that clutch manipulation that I loved so much. Oh, we'll start you off with just these bots. Yeah, you murk them left and right. It's good. Yeah, enjoy. Then we'll throw some ODSTs at you. Ooh, they seem like they're a little better now, aren't they? Yeah, they're good. Yeah. Then we'll give you some Spartans. Wow, these Spartans are great.
Dude,
and then for about an hour,
we're knocking people's blocks off, and I was one of them,
knocking people left and right. It was
Grenade
hilarious.
happy.
Yep. Oh my god. Their grenades were heat seeking. It's amazing.
They were.
Oh my god. And then for just about an hour, they were like, let's let real humans in. And everybody went, okay, now I realize why I don't play Halo anymore. Holy crap. Look at people work. Like, it just went, whoo, wait.
Yeah.
It was hilarious, but it was
you went from like
great.
17 kills, 8 assists, 4 deaths to like 19 deaths, 4 kills.
There
and
is
1
no
assist.
shame in my game. I went from top of the pile to the veriest bottom every time. But then again, I'll excuse myself in saying I had been playing for maybe 12 hours at that point, so I was getting a little fatigued. Yeah, that's
I'd go with that. Yeah, your hand was hurting.
So yeah, that's right. So
That's not as good as my puppy excuse. I'm just going to say that right now.
Sure. But at least I was in there. I was in there.
That's true.
But,
That's true.
Needless to say, long story short, I think this is like this should be a lessons learned for gamers, right?
Yes.
We are fickle creatures.
Yeah.
For a while ago, they were ready to tar and feather 343. Oh, get the heck out of here with all that. Now, who's gonna send Bonnie Ross the bouquet of flowers? I bet you people will if this goes the way we think it's gonna go. Whereas they were calling for her head about 6 months ago, right?
Well,
So
it's funny. It's Joseph Staten coming in on the scene again. Pong made mention of it. We're never really gonna understand, right? This is internal, documentation that we're not privy to. Internal conversation where he came in and what he exactly did. But he did hit on something that's super interesting. When he got there, almost instantaneously, the ship was turning.
But you know what?
I'm saying?
I will push back on one piece of the puzzle, though, and I do agree that Statham had a very positive effect, and we should give him the credit he deserves. But he was here for a year, let's say the last year of their development, right?
Right.
And the rumors and the reporting is all that this, from the beginning of the project till now, it's cost almost $500 million. That's including the engine and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
The piece that we played today could not have been all Statham's work. The pieces were there. The puzzles were there. 343 was there, right? They just needed a deft hand to possibly put it together, and I'll say that he's most likely the positive influence there. We shall see how far it goes when we start seeing the campaign. If it looks like it's cohesive, then we know that it's cohesive. If it doesn't, if it looks like there's some corners cut here and there, then maybe you see that possibly Statham's influence was here trying to cut some bad corners, but we don't know that yet. What I will say is what they showed us this weekend shows that all that time when people were complaining and, had we left them alone, we probably would not have initially gotten the product that we wanted, but we would have eventually gotten the product we wanted because they were on that right track. That's
I mean, I listen, again, we have heard stories, again, unconfirmed because you don't know. There was a lot of stuff going on within 343. Can one man make that big of a change in that short of a period of time? Well, we're never really going to know. All I know is that what we're playing is what I always wanted Halo to evolve to, and that is give me the Halo 3 feelings. And folks, the screen isn't paused. FYI,
one quick thing.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying the screen isn't paused. It's just literally. For some reason, this particular part was a little bit loading. I'm gonna see if I can move it along.
Yep. No, I experienced that myself. I was just gonna say before I give up the mic, I will say, am I one of the rare few humans on Earth that missed the thrust from Halo 5?
That's the point I was gonna bring up, man.
My
damn it.
My trigger, my auto trigger finger, my muscle memory kept trying to thrust left and right every time something was coming at me, and it kept missing it. And I'm okay with it being gone, but I miss it. And I'm an OG fan, so there you go. Please, hey, Cyber, I see Cyber has joined us.
He's
my brother. Oh, yes.
I am here.
Yes,
there he is.
There he is.
The man who was slaying fools with me over the weekend. So
absolutely right. Everborn Saga, let's grab your opinion. I know you got a chance to play a little bit. What were your thoughts on your playtime?
Number one thing is what Kay just alluded to is I do miss the thrust. I was actually a big fan when they introduced it, and I had gotten used to it. So when I was getting hit with grenades, I would think that I could thrust out of the way, but you can't really do that. But you get used to it. So that's probably my biggest.
They do say they will bring that back as an optional pickup. Just a side note. Continue.
Good to know. I'm glad to hear that. So the other thing is the AI on the bots, like. And I tweeted about this, but it just gives me so much more confidence in the campaign, because if this is any indication of the enemy AI in the campaign itself, we're going to have a very fun time just going through it. And that's even before we get to the story. And Kay, you brought up that book, and you're saying that's the same people who did the story for Infinite, right?
Yeah.
So between them, creating this narrative, and then Joseph Staten sort of shepherding it to the finish line, I feel good about the campaign as well. So it's just like everything around this thing is it's all coming together into this place that I think we could have a Game of the Year contender, honestly.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
And Now the other question is, do we know what modes we are going to get? Because this was all about Slayer. And I don't know who said this. Also, super smart. I think a lot of the positive reaction that you see right now is because they started people off on the bots to let us all feel powerful. Like, oh, I'm having fun. I remember when I was good, right? And then they slowly increased the bots. And by the time you realized you were in over your head, it was too late. You already put out your tweets. You already had fun. You already felt powerful, and you were trained a little bit. So you didn't die as fast as you would have if they went straight for PvP. Because I think if they went straight for PvP, some of those Halo Elite players would have. And listen, that's what they're supposed to do, but I think it would have ruined it for a lot of the casuals.
But that was on Sunday night.
Yeah, but it was too late at that point. You already had a weekend full of great experiences, right? So that was genius on their part. But
very true.
Do we know if there will be a battle royale mode, or is it just big team battle?
It's funny because there is a story that I'm writing literally right now that someone did some data mining, and we're going to talk about it on tomorrow's Xbox Factor podcast, where the announcer said battle royale. Now we don't know if that is still in the game, if it's actually going to get the game. I know that they already said that big team battle is going to be there. Slayer is going to be there. I don't know how big Slayer is going to be. This is 4v4. Honestly, I don't know, but I know big team battle is going to be there.
I honestly want I want raids like Destiny. And I don't know if they're doing that, but I do think they should find a way to take advantage of the open world of the campaign. Some sort of co-op missions that can happen sort of after you complete the campaign.
We were saying
Yeah,
this
yeah.
on this. It looks like there's a lot of Destiny like aspects being added in. I mean, look at the AIs. Obviously, that's a piece of the puzzle that I didn't mention that folks should also really look into. The AIs, their voices, the different voices they're able to do. In addition to holding their little AI representation in your hand, looks very much like Destiny. I mean, it's very much, and he talks to you throughout the process. You know, I was making jokes that if they start talking about witches on the moon, I know where they're getting that from. It's getting very close. You know, it's getting very close.
But really seriously though, like, because what I'm hoping is we have whatever the events of the campaign are, and then once you complete the campaign, you play as your Spartan from multiplayer to do any of the other things that where you can sort of exist in the hub world. So if Chief blew up a building during the campaign, that building will be blown up in the hub world afterwards when you're playing your multiplayer co-op things, because that's more what I'm excited for than the PvP, because I know I'm going to get washed. So I'm hoping that there are some like really good co-op elements when it really is. But about the tech preview, I think I played maybe 7 matches, just time and life or whatever. But like everything that I played, like it's all back. Tempest, I'm actually somebody who liked that Halo was floaty. I always thought Call of Duty would move too fast for me, but this was like the perfect balance between not being too floaty, but also not being like I need Adderall to play it, right? Like, so it's really like you're totally right, Pong. They found the perfect balance just for how this feels. It feels right, and it feels like top of the king of the hill, really, is what it's feeling like for first-person shooters right now.
Hey, I have 2 questions now that you're talking about it. Did anybody miss 1, assassinations, and 2, did anybody miss like the Spartan charge, the Spartan dive, all of those extra things?
All the
dive,
jetpack
not
stuff,
so much.
right?
The dive, not so much, but the charges and the thrust, yes. I was saying that some of us have that muscle memory that you feel like it should be there,
Yeah, that was a welcome addition in Halo 5 for me. So I actually missed it, but people didn't like it. But I think the run where you don't get tired really kind of makes up for it. So I'll allow it.
Okay.
Much like the grappling hook, they say that might come as an optional.
Did any of you actually get that? I never got it.
I had it on screen.
Yep.
Awesome. Bro, I will let CyberKnock speak to the grappling hook because that man was on fire with that.
Well, he is
hook,
Batman, so you know what? Speaking of which,
there you go.
Let's grab CyberKnock because he got a chance to play with me and Kay Asante. Dude, obviously, besides being an incredible, I was going to say circus person with the grappling hook. Get your Batman skills for sure. What were your takeaways from the beta?
In the famous words of Beyonce, "Baby, I can feel your halo."
Oh boy!
Baby, I can see your halo. You know you're my saving grace. You're everything I need and more. Okay. But all jokes aside, it just felt so refreshing, man. Playing that beta actually felt really, really nice. I think it was very, very genius of them to just, start off bots only. That's where they wanted to do their technical test on, get the AI right for the bots. Start at the lowest difficulty possible because I'm pretty sure everyone touched on this. Get everyone to, feel powerful, feel like they're a badass, get in there. Yeah, this is Halo right here. Let's go 15 kills and then gradually like amp up the difficulty. And by the end, Sunday evening, we were all doing PvP. It was great. But I loved I love the way it felt. I love how the sprinting worked. It was a little bit of a mixture between the pace of Halo 3 and Halo 5, I didn't miss the thrust at all. I think the balancing on the game right now, it's very, very well done. The addition of the grappling hook, man, I didn't know I was gonna love that thing as much as I did. I know Kiasante and
But Cyber, let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. When is a grappling hook or a hook shot, in the case of Zelda, not been good? It's always satisfying.
Oh my god, yeah. And the way you can traverse, yeah, for real. But the way you can traverse now, like the verticality on the maps, for you to, and the way you can come around the corners with that grappling hook. Oh my god, it's like a
Grappling
game
hook with the
changer.
hammer at the same time.
Ooh.
Oh man,
I
it's
actually saw
insane.
people take the hammer away from people that were going for it by using
With the
like,
grapple.
you can grab
Yeah.
things with the grappling hook. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It felt really nice. It really did. It felt like I mentioned before, it felt refreshing, you know. The one thing I will say is I was mentioning to the guys at the party when we were playing is Halo is a very strategic game. So if you're accustomed to playing like I am, you know, I play a lot of Warzone. So my tendency, you know, not playing Halo in a little while was just to, you know, run, try to like run and gun at the whole at you know, in
No
the
standing
beginning.
still in Halo.
Exactly. But the run and gun situation, the run and gun situation won't be as effective here. You know, Halo is more strategic, more is about, you know, control and you know, knowing the map, moving with your team, things like that. So I had, because I was getting a lot of kills, but I was also dying a lot because I was just rushing into fire because that's what I'm used to doing in Call of Duty. But it felt great, man. There was a couple of games that, you know, Boom, you were there with us, me, you, Asante, we were in there playing. Just felt, I love the maps. You know, I thought the maps were really they were really well done too. I think the map live fire, the first one, it was a perfect map to start everything to start everyone on. And you know, if this is just the beginning right here, this is just a technical beta, I can't wait for the next flight, man, to see, you know, how far along they're gonna come.
Well, I mean, listen, the only time is going to tell. Real quick, let me catch up some of the super chats. Depka drops a $5 super chat, says, "How polished was the tech test? Question mark. The footage looks laggy." Dude, I don't know what to tell you. I don't think it looks laggy at all. I think
it might just be the stream. Like,
it could be the stream, but I'm only going at 1080p because that's what the software allows. But yeah, dude,
there were definitely bugs and a little hiccups here and there, but nothing that was you know,
it felt fast as hell. I put it this way, it felt even faster than Titanfall 2, and Titanfall 2 was ultra fast.
Yeah. And that 120 felt real good.
Ridiculous.
I went back to 60 and I was like, I could tell. No, we're going back to 120.
Real quick, Dan the Man Cunningham drops a $5 super chat and says, "Come Christmas, you'll see all of you in hell, aka Blood Gulch." Oh yeah, they're gonna bring back Blood. I mean, that's one of the top maps. Paul AFC drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, "Hey, Boom, great show as always. The gravity hammer with the grappling hook combo was fire. Halo is back, and I'm so happy. Indeed, it certainly is." Let's see Wandering Dutch. Did you get it? Did you get into the beta?
I did not know. Two of my other panel members did, Shom and Hertog Vin. And I actually have about an hour and a half's worth of 4K 60 footage going up on the channel as we speak.
Nice.
So yeah, from what I've heard though, it's absolutely amazing. Now, I specifically didn't sign up for the tech flight. I've, much like Santi, I've been a Halo fan since the original CE launched on the original Xbox at the start. But unlike a lot of people who are really dying to get their hands on the game early and play it and see what it's like, I'm the complete opposite. I want to wait. I'm gonna be that man that just sits back and waits for it to be 100% ready to rock and roll and then see the finished product. But what I've seen of it looks absolutely amazing. Specifically the feedback that I've had from our guys is the feel of the weapons feels so much better than it did in previous kind of Halos, specifically Halo 5. It feels a lot more weighty. The movement feels a lot more solid, a lot more realistic, should we say. Much better for a Halo game, not as floaty. But for me, it's just the polish already in this game, and being a 2-month-old kind of demo as well that they've kind of essentially given people, just shows kind of a testament to the work that the guys at 303 have done over the last few months. The game looks absolutely tremendous, and you can even see that when they were showing off before they did the flight, and they showed off what the Xbox OG, like the OG Xbox One looked like, and then the Xbox Series version, and I was like, Jesus, that even the base console looks polished.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just tremendous. It looks. I can't wait to get a hold of it. But yeah, specifically for me, it from what I've seen, especially the footage I've had to dig through there as well, looks absolutely brilliant. Of course, it's a technical flight. It isn't even classed as a beta. It's mainly just to kind of do server testing and, like you say, figure out the AIs and make sure that the bots are working well. Because, of course, for the first time ever, we're playing against bots, or at least you can do for it. Training, as we say, before you get into the multiplayer arena and fight off against those elites. And those Halo elite players are not not to be taken lightly. They are absolutely carnage. And we know, like you mentioned earlier, Ains and his guys, when they were kind of dusting down the old Halo controller and going into that tournament the other kind of a few months back, when they started to pick up, they were just ridiculous. And of course, Ains is an old pro player.
He has Halo pros on his team. It's ridiculous.
Yep. When they get going, they are ridiculous. So to implement bots into this one, which is more of an accessibility thing as well, getting more people into the game and getting more people being able to actually test themselves against AI before they go up against some of these really seasoned Halo players is perfect. Absolutely perfect. It brings more people into the Halo community, which is exactly what it needs. It's a long-standing franchise. It needs some fresh air, and I think the guys at 343 should be absolutely proud of what they've achieved so far. And can't wait to see kind of the finished product.
Yeah, absolutely. Our guest from last week, One Bad Mother's in the chat, and he says this. First of all, welcome, brother. He says they nailed the gunplay and the movement. Indeed, they did. It felt so freaking quick. But you know what? Let's get Mag. Yeah, obviously, you're here, and you're going to start us off in the second half of the show with, of course, the excuses people are making for Sony, which is to the point of nauseum at this point. But let's talk Halo, and let's keep it positive until we bring the dark clouds in, because they're coming, folks. They're coming. This is an exciting time for Xbox fans. It's an exciting time for Halo fans, but I think it's an exciting time for the people that are making this game, because they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. I wouldn't want to be a developer on this game, because everyone, and I don't mean us, I mean the naysayers, the negative, bastardos in the community, they want them to fail. They want Halo to fail, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. This is just the beta. This is a 2-month-old build, and I got to be honest with you. I think everyone, and I mean everyone, walked away excited and happy to talk about it, to take pictures, to post video. That's saying something. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, let me tell you something. This is what you call the marketing of this situation. Now, what they've done, yes, okay, it's a 2-month-old build. They could have put a newer build, but they had something more polished, because what they wanted to do is they wanted to come out strong, and they wanted the players, which I've been listening to you guys talk for an hour, very intently listening to everything you said. Very little, if not zero, was negative.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what they wanted to get out there. So kudos to that. By the way, if I say Jason Statham one more time instead of Joseph Staten, I'm going to go crazy. All I can picture is him. Anyways, the thing is, what I'm excited for, from what I've gathered from what you guys have talked about, is, first of all, the sound. I am, just like Tempest was saying earlier, I am a sound guy, okay? Never mind my loud voice. I actually enjoy the sound build, of a game or whatever, or movie, that kind of thing. Sound design is a big thing for me. Now, I remember playing Halo 1, 2, and 3 and whatever else, right? And they just, like, when you shot a gun, it sounded like this. It was like, I go back and play Halo 2 and tell me that you can hear that battle rifle, okay? Or the assault rifle. It's like, and then you play Halo 4 when 343 took over, and all of a sudden it's like, bang, 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 bang. And you're like, wow, okay, they got some sound going on here. Right. So that was great. So I'm like, so now you guys are telling me that the sound is excellent, whatever. I enjoyed the sound in Halo 4, Halo 5, and now, of course, what I'm going to experience in Halo Infinite, which I haven't yet. So that's a good thing. The other thing, something that Pong Soul had said earlier, I got to agree with him 100% on this, is that Microsoft's got balls to delay this a year and a half. And the thing is, that's a big thing to do, man. It's a, you know, when they always say that, you know, it takes a big man to step up to admit he's wrong or whatever else, they did that. Whereas, you know, members of their competition do not. They just like to hide behind little tweets.
Yeah.
These guys come out and say it. Now, the interesting thing about that is that had to hurt. That had to hurt. Every time I went, never mind hurting me, the fact that I went to the store, okay, and I bought a Chips Ahoy box, and there's Master Chief staring at me. And I'm like, sorry, buddy, can't play you till next year. But the point is, it was there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they really had to, they had to take that L big time.
Hey,
and
Mag.
Well, yes.
Mag, to your point, Master Chief is on the box of the Series X, and you couldn't even play the game. That is amazing that they did that.
They took the L. They bent the knee. They did all the above. But what did they do? Just like you guys were saying, Joseph Staten and the rest of the team, they came in there and they went in there. They're guys, listen, we took it. Let's take it with pride, and let's come in strong. Now, that's the other thing. Yeah, come in strong. Now, here's the other thing. This is the last thing I'm going to say, because I didn't get to play the damn thing, okay? This is the last thing I'm going to say on it. What Microsoft is doing now, especially with this Halo beta, never mind the Game Pass stuff that we're going to talk about later, whatever. Okay? Xbox is winning, and in my opinion, has won the mindshare war this generation.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And Halo is just one of those silver bullets, okay, that they just fired, okay, straight into that werewolf. Okay, I'm telling you right now, this is what they're doing. Because if you think about this right now, between Game Pass and now this Halo, I don't have anybody blocked on Twitter, okay? I got PlayStation fans who are my friends. I even got, toxic guys in my feed. I don't care. I just want to read what they got to say. Because it just, know thy enemy, right? Like when it comes to, toxic idiots or whatever. I don't care. I'll read it all. But here's the thing. What's everybody talking about?
Halo.
They're talking about Halo.
Yes.
What are they talking about on every single Xbox podcast? They're talking about Halo. What are they talking about on every neutral podcast? They're talking about Halo. What are they talking about on PlayStation podcasts?
Halo.
Everybody's talking about Halo. Xbox has won the mindshare war. Sony has lost it. Okay, Nintendo does their own thing. And so, but the thing is, that is what the key important thing is. That, see when Sony announced, they're like, oh, by the way, we sold 10 million consoles. Everybody's like, yeah, okay. So anyways, back to Halo. They don't care. It's not dominating the conversations. I listen to sometimes toxic PlayStation podcasts. They were all talking about Halo. Okay, they weren't even talking about the 10 million consoles sold, anything like that. So what this is I'm just saying that, what I'm looking at from somebody on the outside looking in is not only you guys having fun, which is what we're here for, okay? None of us work for Microsoft, okay? None of us work for Sony or Nintendo or whatever, okay? But we're all supposed to have fun. But for someone looking at it from a business point of view, you know what I see? I see a company that's winning a quiet war. This is like a Cold War, if you think about it. Mindshare is a Cold War. It's not like taking direct shots at this guy, that guy, whatever. It's dominating the conversation. And from what I've seen is that Halo has dominated the conversation. And this is how, and never mind when it launches, but I'm just saying, this is how you do it. This is how you win it. This is how you get people engaged. This is how you sell consoles. And this is how you move the product forward. And they got to keep it in the mind share. They got to keep it going. They're going to do more flights. They're going to do more of them. Okay. Yeah. They're not going to stop at one. So, it's going to keep going and keep getting better. So anyway, I'm just saying kudos and congratulations for you guys to get to play it. I did not, but when I get a chance, I'm sure in the next one, they better. Otherwise, I'm walking to Redmond myself. And I'll knock on the door. But anyways, besides all that, like I said, great job. And I'm glad you guys got to enjoy it.
Hey, Mag, one more thing to your point, as far as this being a war of attrition.
Yes.
The Xbox One was outsold by the PlayStation 2 to 1, right? We got the 6.5 we got the 10 million PlayStation number, but we also got the 6.5 Xbox number, right? That means they are gaining ground because it is no longer 2-1. No one is saying 5 million Xboxes sold. They're saying 6.5.
Right. And I mean,
right?
I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but at the same time, if you look at that 10 million, 2.5 of those were still scalpers because they did say 25% of them are not even activated.
There you go. Yeah, that's
You know what I'm saying? And the fact that they're sitting in someone's garage. I know a guy, I think I sent you guys a pic about it. I've got about 30 listings in my area, and they have minimum 10 PlayStations each. One guy has like 40.
Wow.
Okay, and that's just within a 30-minute drive of my house. So there's probably about 400 or 500 PlayStation 5s sitting in people's houses right now, all within a 30-minute drive of me. Okay, so
I mean,
they're saying
again,
that 25% are not even active.
It's funny because some more numbers came in with Sony, and only 1 million people bought Ratchet and Clank. Very disappointing, to be honest with you.
That's why it's going to end up on the PS4. To get that larger player base,
and also I think that what did they say? It was
Returnal
560.
Oh yeah.
So now
I don't know. I think. Sorry, Cyber. Go ahead.
That's all right. No, I was just gonna say, I don't know if anyone mentioned here because I got here a little late, but the actual AI that you carry with you it was just like it's genius. I love that little thing too.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, I'm hoping they kind of sell like celebrity AI. Maybe we can get Sam Jackson.
The different voices and the different attitudes each AI has. I thought it was like brilliant. And let me tell you something. This game is about to make so much money in microtransactions. It's gonna be insane. Just a customization
I'm gonna go straight for that samurai outfit immediately.
Oh, dude, they said they already confirmed that that's a part of the season 1 pass. So I listen. Look, I don't do these Fortnite things. Occasionally, I'll buy an outfit. I bought Black Panther. I bought Storm Shadow. I bought Snake Eyes. I'll buy a few, but I'm all in on Halo.
But you know what, Boom? They took away the $100 or no, for you guys 70. But they take away like a $60 or $70 paywall from you. You don't mind spending $20 or $10 on some skins, right? So that's the thing that people and then never mind that. How about the people that are going to be playing free to play on their phones, tablets, whatever, and didn't even have to pay the $500 to get into the ecosystem?
Yeah,
they'll pay. What do people pay when they play these stupid Candy Crush games? Those any King,
they'll drop $5, $10, $15, $20, sure,
easily.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you get something sexy that you like an outfit that sexy? That's kind of a weird thing to say for Halo, but you know what I'm saying?
It's fine.
Like it's like an exciting outfit.
I'll allow it.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like what what you guys are saying. It's like I want to get the samurai outfit. I want to get this. I want to get that. You've removed that paywall from me. I'll buy a couple things. Right. Especially if we're going to play this in the long term.
Yeah.
You want your characters to look the way you want. You don't just want to have like the default and just, whatever. So yeah,
some people will, but again, this is why they're making it free to play, because everyone that enjoys these Fortnite season passes and the Apex Legends and the Call of Duty War Zones are gonna listen, folks. I got news for you. Halo is going to be taking a lot of people's lunches, and it starts with Sony not having anything for the fall. But I'm going to say this: Call of Duty 1950 versus this garbage. I'm telling you right now. First of all, F Activision anyway. Okay, just because they're a bunch of D-bags at that company, but F them and Call of Duty going back to the 1950s. I'm sorry, it's a big L for loser and for loss. But listen, we've been talking Halo. It's an hour and 8 minutes in, and of course, folks, if you've enjoyed yourself and you've been sitting there smiling from ear to ear, whether you are a Sony hater or lover, either you're going to have a frowny face or you're going to keep smiling some more, because we're going to talk some negative Sony stuff. Now, the thing is, I opened up with the show with I am just appalled at how many people make excuses for a company that continues to gouge its audience on everything. And I don't like to curse, but we have to talk about one of the things, the asshole tax, thanks to, of course, Everborn says that's what the name of the tax is. They charge you for $10 for a console you already spent $500 on to use the haptic triggers and all of the bells and whistles. Well, you have to pay more for that.
Hey, Boom, but
yes,
we
sir.
should clarify, though, you're also paying for lip syncing.
Lip
Don't-
syncing. Yes.
Don't forget.
Super, super important. Okay, folks.
Made possible by the SSD.
Yeah.
Yes, by that very fast SSD that only they have. Mark Cerny, you can thank him personally, and be careful because he takes ears. The ear collector, as he's known in some countries.
I've still never heard back from that. I
Wow.
mean, he's got photos of my ears. He's got a picture of my teeth. I don't know. What else does he need?
I would say that I would file a police report because you could be kidnapped very shortly.
But in all
Hopefully-
seriousness, we never got that program. Where's the ear sending in program? I was looking
I think
forward to
Dutch is
seeing
an
where that went.
NPC in the next in the Horizon Forbidden West.
potentially,
He's just
potentially.
going to do a forged document of like a passport or something, isn't he?
Well, listen, what I want to do is I have to immediately go to Middle Age Gamer Guy on this because obviously we have a DM, a private DM that we all talk on a daily basis in, and of course we prepare for the show. I send this with the show notes, and you had a lot to say there, and you're going to have a lot to say now. Listen, folks, I'm not saying that Sony is in the gutter. Okay, what I'm saying is that what people need to understand is it's starting to mount a little bit on what Sony is not doing for their fan base. And people that are going to sit here and defend it, listen, I'm going to put you on the pay no mind list and just mute you or block you altogether. If you're going to come at me when I have an opinion, because I'm a paying customer. As a matter of fact, I can almost guarantee these same knuckleheads, they're out there, bowing down to this plastic piece. I have more games and I have more of the PlayStation 5 peripherals and everything that goes along with all the bells and whistles than they do outside of just the $400 or $500 console. The cloud save thing is a big problem, right? They're not paying. Literally, they're like putting their heads in the sand about it. The SSD situation, right? Everyone's like, well, no, it's really not that hard, Boom. It's just plug and play. Is it though? Is it for the normies? Because I'm going to be honest with you.
Hey, Boom. Just one thing about that. I feel like people. I mean, rightly so, because it is more. It's not something that is really designed for casuals, right? But the issue is that Sony has, and somebody put in a super chat about this. Sony's washing their hands of the process. You get an SSD, and if it bricks your console, go talk to Western Digital.
Go deal with the
Go talk to whoever else you bought it from. We don't know anything. Not our problem. And that's where I find the issue. It's not even the installation.
I absolutely agree with you, and that's exactly what that's exactly where I was going to next, because the installation is you open up the system, you unscrew the thing, you plug it in. Hopefully it works with the speeds and everything. But Kay Asante is going to actually go into why it's actually more than that, because it's not. This is not the memory card that Microsoft has currently with Seagate. This is a whole different scenario. And as a matter of fact, Wandering Dutch is going to take it even further. We were talking in the green room, and what he said went completely over my mohawk, because, like I said, I'm not a tech guy like that. I'm not a PC master race. But middle-aged gamer guy,
man,
let's get your opinion on what's going on. Why do people continue to make and you know what? Real quick, let me read that from J.R. Pohl, who drops a very generous $10 super chat. He says the SSD switch is inconvenient, and Sony is washing their hands of the process. You need to contact the vendor if you have a question. This after 8 months ? All said, PS5 was an engineering marvel. Stop the cap. And I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
On that note, please, middle-aged gamer guy, take it away.
Okay. Well, first things first. Before this SSD situation that they're facing right now, this started in January of 2020. Okay, this did not happen last week. This was mishandled, miscommunicated, scrambling, slapped together nonsense from the get-go.
Yes.
I didn't have faith in this product 8 months before it even came out. And I was going to buy it day one, just like I do every other console. Okay, I buy them all. Well, ones that I want anyway. All right? So I get those ones day one. So I knew I was going to get a PS5. But they didn't give me consumer confidence. Yeah. And it started with the fact that Microsoft did their what was it called? The reveal of the Series X in December of 2019, a month earlier, and then everybody's like, okay, so where's the PS5? And then all of a sudden February comes out. All right, so where's the PS5? Oh, it's done. It's coming. Well, where's the PS5? March. Oh, it's because of COVID. Oh, it's because of COVID? Okay, what does it look like? Well, we're not telling you yet. I'm like, what is going on? Right? So all of a sudden you're like, they weren't ready. They didn't have a shell of this product yet. They didn't even know what it looked like yet. They could lie, and they were lying, and they were lying and lying and lying continuously. And it continued all year long. Then when they finally did the reveal, what did they show you? They showed you the product, right? Then they showed you the prices. Then they bungled the pre-sale thing. Okay, the what's it called? The reservation
Reserves.
thing and all that. Yeah, and all the reserves and all that nightmare that they did. They bungled all that. Then they did the lie. Then they did the baloney with the there's an expansive SSD coming. It's coming very soon. It is August of 2021.
Yep.
It is 9 months, not 8 months. It is 9 months later. And where the hell is that? And this is what they give you. What they've shown me in this product in particular is that they don't care. They don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
They don't care about you. I even feel like they don't even care about your money. Now, here's the question I want to ask for the fans out there, and I don't mean fans. I'm a fan, okay? I'm a fan of the PlayStation. I like the PlayStation, okay? I love their games. But I'm not a fan of Sony, and you know that.
Yes.
Now, the thing is, what I don't understand is why do you not hold Sony to task that you are paying them money, but they're the ones who are acting like they're doing you a goddamn favor? Okay? That's my problem. It's like you're doing them a favor. They're like, well, you know what? We're Sony. We're doing you a favor. Give us money. You get what we give you. That's not how it works, because everybody else, you will be any other company out there. They will take you to task because they say, I invested in your product and this is what you're giving me. No. If you buy a car from Ford and they come with 3 wheels, wouldn't you have something to say? Or are you going to sit there and drive like this? And go, it's fine. It's fine. It's no problem. It's fine. It's fine. That's what they're doing. Or you get in the car and it's got no goddamn steering wheel. Are you going to sit there and grab the drive shaft and go, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. We'll get a steering wheel in the next year or so. That's not how it works for other companies. If you buy an iPad and it doesn't work exactly with all the features that you said you paid for, $1,000, $2,000, whatever, for a PC, and it's got all these features and you don't have those features, you don't get those features, what's going to happen? You are going to return it to that company and say, this is not what I paid for. Okay, so you're looking at that SSD situation. That's exactly what they did. And now look at the solution they've given you. This is nonsense. They're just basically like, there's this, that, the other thing, but it's not guaranteed they're going to work. So I don't know. It's up to you and the vendor, whatever. You know what it comes out to me as? Whatever. Yeah. It doesn't sound like this company cares. Now, the funny thing is, when you talk about one, like I said, all the time, you got to talk about the other. You got to look across the pond and look at what they're doing. My God, Xbox is literally wiping the floor with their bloody face.
Yes.
Okay? Like this. They beat the snot out of them when it comes to customer service, and now they're just wiping the floor with them. Now they're just making them look like goddamn fools. Now, here's the thing that's very interesting, though. This is on Xbox now. Okay, this is funny that I'm actually going to say this, but this is on Xbox. This is on Xbox in order to educate the casuals. Okay, you got, we know what's going on. Okay, the other guys know what's going on YouTube. People in this chat, they know what's going on. Okay, and you know what? Maybe the SSD for them and for us, it's not a big deal because this is what we do every day. Okay, so we know all the ins and outs. Joe Sixpack walks in and needs an expansion. What? You're going to tell him to unscrew this console and start farting around with it, and it might melt your bloody console? He's going to be screwing in this little flimsy
Does it
thing.
have a heat sink? Doesn't it have a heat sink? Do I need thermal paste? I mean, the normies aren't going to figure that out, man. I'm sorry.
Exactly. And see, the thing is, I see people on Twitter, I see people on YouTube, and they're all making fun of the fact that people are like, anybody who makes this a big deal, that means you're just stupid. No. Because not everybody is as educated in this particular field than us. because this is what we do. You can't think of, and see, the funny thing is when they call other people stupid, the only people who are stupid are them, because stupid people always associate whatever's going on in the world with their own experience without looking at the fact that you have to understand that if you want a broad picture of what's going on in this world, you have to see it through the eyes of every individual on every level. And that is how you understand the market. You know what I'm saying?
So Mag, just you're making a point about like we know that and it'll be fine for us. I don't know that we do, right?
No,
like, can you say no? I know what you're saying,
but I could research it.
But even if you did research it, what would you research to tell you what games will and won't work? Because they don't guarantee every game will work.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So
what can you read that will guarantee the speed that the SSD will transfer data under heavy loads and higher thermal tempersures?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, like I don't know any of that stuff.
Nobody knows that. Right?
I don't know any of that
stuff. We don't know what to do if it won't brick your console, which we know that they suggested one, but even then we don't know how it will perform.
Right.
And we don't know what the after effects are. So even the experienced people do not know. And that's the issue, that it took 8 months to get to a beta that kind of leaves you on your own. But I'm sorry.
Right. No, it's all good. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because the thing is that it just shows once again, they don't care, because they're like, well, if something happens, talk to your vendor. They don't even want to take responsibility for something that they.
That's why they didn't partner with somebody to do it like Microsoft did with Seagate. Yeah.
So now this is what I'm getting at, is that this is the responsibility now of Microsoft to get ahead of this, jump on this situation now that the Halo beta is over for the weekend. Okay. Now move your focus onto this and start educating the public, saying, well, if you want more, you see this little thing here, you just stick it in.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because the marketing team once again did this is how you share games, except with the memory card. If you want to expand your memory, this is what you do. Bloop, they show it going into the console and done.
Right. So Microsoft won't do those videos because they
did. They did do that video.
Oh, was that them? I thought that was a fan.
No, that was the Xbox support account.
Yep. Oh my dear Lord! I thought that was just somebody doing it for like.
Dude, that was Mike. That was
Xbox.
Okay, well, you know what they got to do?
Piranhas smell blood in the water. That's what happened.
Then they got to start putting it on billboards in Times Square. They got to put it in Dundas Square here in Toronto. They got to start putting videos up like that. Make it simple so that every Joe Schmo who walks off the subway, walks off the bus, walking around downtown, looks up and they see, they're like, yeah, this is obviously the easier solution. And then they start looking at the other side. And then the guy has to pull out a blueprint of how to,
bring out the schematics. Yeah.
No, a lot of these places as well, when you see them doing the tear down of the PlayStation 5, just completely ignore the fact that you've got to unscrew the stand first to be able to get the shell off, and then take the shell off, and then unscrew the plate. It's like you've missed the step first.
Right. You know what? The thing is, and now the Dutch, now that you're saying that, sorry, one last thing, Boom, and I'll get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The one last thing I was saying to say, Dutch, is that, we've seen those videos. They know those videos, whatever else. Imagine trying to explain this to a guy who literally just wants to buy a box for his kid.
Yes.
Yep.
Good luck with that.
I almost said the F word. What the hell are they going? It got me so worked up. What are they going to tell these people? You know what I mean? And what are you going to tell them? And the thing is, Sony's showing nothing. Never mind the fact that, let's say this Horizon Forbidden situation, happens.
No, it does. Okay. That's confirmed. It's delayed.
Oh, right. Okay. Dude. So where's Sony talking? Because they don't have the balls. They got their balls cut out from them a year and a half ago. That's why. Look at the God of War situation, 2021. What they've been doing, and same with the SSD situation now. What they've been doing from the get-go is that they've been leading the donkey with the carrot.
Yes.
Just to sell their console so that they can splash on the front of IGN that we sold 10 million consoles, but there's with nothing behind it. I mean, they've had a couple of good games this year, 2, to be quite honest. That's great. But what's going to happen between now and Kena Bridge of Spirits? Besides that, nothing.
Well, that's been delayed until September,
which pisses me off too.
Yeah,
I was ready to buy it.
It's one of my most anticipated indie games for sure. At least for the place. It's the only thing they're going to have this year. You know what I want to do is, again, I said from the beginning, I'm going to basically allow this freight train to roll. I started it. I took the brakes. I broke the brakes, so there's no stopping this train. I want to go to Wandering Dutch, because Dutch is going to come at this from a perspective that not only makes sense to me, but I think it's going to make a lot of sense to the people who are trying to understand why the SSD is a problem. But before I do that, I want to thank you, Sir X-Men, with the outstanding $2 super chat, and says, I cannot wait to play this Halo on my 3060 Ti on PC. Well, good on you, dude. I'm sure it's going to look incredible. And we have Bunty drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, check this out and look at this story. Japanese gamers are not buying the PlayStation 5. Wonder why you think they knew about this problem, so Sony went to everybody else except the Japanese. This is worse than DRM. You know what it is? The thing with the Japanese gaming community, it's not a console community anymore. It hasn't been for almost a decade. Back in the days, they would wait 3 days to get a Nintendo or a PlayStation. They're not doing that anymore. That culture has changed to playing on phones and tablets. They're a mobile market, which is why Xbox and xCloud is going to do so well over there. But Dutch, please take it away.
Yeah, certainly. So going in from an actual technical standpoint here, obviously several months ago we had the pleasure of interviewing David Prien, which is the Xbox equivalent, essentially the senior director of hardware at Xbox, who partnered specifically with Seagate. He was the guy who kind of overlooked that and managed that particular project. We asked him more of the technical questions when it comes to the why they chose to go down the proprietary route for the SSD. And he said a few key things that really shows now why PlayStation are in the position they are with their SSD. They said, yes, we could have quite easily went down with a standard plug-and-play solution from PC. Just plug in your SSD and go for it. There's a few key problems, though, when you do something like that. The SSDs that you use for PC are not built to sustain consistent speeds and consistent data reads like they would be from a gaming console. A gaming console needs to consistently draw data at all times, bringing new things into the map, bringing new information into the map. The PC does not. The PC SSD essentially is working at a burst. So it's just taking a bit of data. That's all we need. Then it rests. Then a bit of data. And then a bit of data. And then a bit of data. The Xbox and the PlayStation do not do that. They are consistently searching for data at all times. Now, the key reason they went for proprietary on that stage is because, A, they went to Seagate specifically and said, right, okay, this is what we need and these are the speeds we need. Seagate went, yep, sure, here you go. We've got a few drives ready for you right now. Said, no. This is what we need it to do. We need it to consistently read data at that speed and not drop that speed at all. It needs to stay at a constant rate. Seagate then went, right, okay. So we'll have to design something from the ground up then, because we don't have a solution right now that does that. So they specifically designed a console, an SSD, proprietary SSD for Xbox that would draw the data at that speed and consistent rates permanently. Not only that, but they also needed the longevity of and the lifespan of that particular SSD solution to last. Because when you're drawing data at such a rate consistently over a long period of times, it is going to wear down, and it's going to wear down quickly. Essentially, on an SSD, what you have are blocks of information, and over the lifespan of the SSD, some of those blocks become completely redundant. Now, what Xbox have done specifically with Seagate is have a backup section of blocks within the SSD, so that when more start to fail, then they can then reintroduce other blocks to take their place, and then extending the lifespan of the SSD. The problem you've got with PC SSD or standard PCIe Gen 4 or Gen 3, no matter which version it is that a consistent rate, if you're just using a standard SSD over a consistent period and you're trying to run it like a console SSD, it is A, not going to defrag like it meant to, so the blocks are going to erode much quicker, and the average lifespan of an SSD, if used in a console, just standard PC SSDs using a console, are up to 2 years. So you're going to completely erode that data much quicker than you are if you're going to have a proprietary solution. So the problem PlayStation have primarily is that they've, and this is what Xbox have said specifically. This is David Prien, the senior director of hardware. We could have went 5,000, 7,000 megabits per second read-write speed. But what is the point if the lifespan of that particular unit is not going to last the generation? What is the point in having an SSD solution that is going to erode quick? Now, the internal SSD on PlayStation is fine. That isn't the problem. It's the external solution that is being completely forgot about. If you're going to have something that is like that, you need to have your own proprietary solution externally that can work the same as the internal. Otherwise, you're going to have issues where people are saving games and that particular drive within 2 years is going to be corrupt and unusable. That is the issue that we're having here. So to me, looking into the out, it isn't just the fiddliness of putting things in and out of the console. That is something that we have to get around anyway. And the casuals, trust me when I say this, I've spoken to someone who's been a PlayStation player all of his life, but he's a casual player, just picked up the PlayStation. The one question he had for me is, what can I play on this PlayStation? It wasn't, how do I put in a PlayStation SSD drive? That would be a whole nother thing altogether. The fact that he's still asking what games are available for that console in the first place and doesn't know this shows what the casuals think in the first place. They aren't aware of the basics. So never mind going into the depths of SSD. Now, this is where Sony have completely overlooked the situation entirely, because they've, instead of, like Xbox said, we wanted to have something that is quick enough. SSD is a massive jump over hard drive anyway, 7,500 revs per minute or 56,000 revs per minute, going up to an SSD, where it is instantly loading speeds at 2,500 megabits per second, is a huge jump in itself. And jumping over to 5,500 or 7,000 megabits per second is only gaining you 1 or 2 seconds. And to them, is that worth the longevity of a console? Is that worth the lifespan? Is that worth the headache? No. What's the point in all of that if it's going to give you 1 or 2 seconds difference in a game, compared to you've already shaved off a minute to a minute and a half on all game load times? Are we going to do that, or are we going to go for lifespan, longevity, and reliability? So that is the solution that Xbox went for. PlayStation went, we want to be the fastest possible SSD known to man, but internally. Because externally, lifespan, PC SSDs are not built to sustain high levels of speed for a long period of time. And if you have a look at any PC SSD comparison, they never, ever consistently hit that level of speed throughout the full duration of their on time, their power up time on PC. Never. They never sustain that speed. They only ever hit that speed when they're required, when short bursts, when they're under full throttle, and they start to come down and down and down. That is the problem PlayStation have. The external SSDs will never achieve the same level of performance as the internal, because they're not built the same.
And that is why you have now correctly identified why they hedged their bets with, don't talk to us if there's a problem, because they know that what they're providing you there is a ceiling and not the floor.
I was just gonna say that the 2.4 gigs a second that you get uncompressed on the Xbox, that's the floor. That's the floor. That is what
from there.
Right. That is what developers can count on, and they can design around that. Right. It is very hard to design or to hit a moving target, which is what it seems will be the case. And again, there's so many things that even experts don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what about what you were saying that what if we don't know if it's going to work with every game?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So there's a few things to that, right? So the part of what Dutch was alluding to about not having sustained speeds, when a drive is transferring data that much, it does heat up, right? And it will slow down to accommodate for that. And if games are designed with the SSD in mind, knowing that, so let's say Ratchet and Clank or something like that. And I'm not saying Ratchet and Clank won't work, but that game is designed to take advantage of the SSD, the way they do the instant switching of loading in level assets. If that game is running on a standard SSD, how can a developer know that they will get the speed that they need, right? And if they can't, then the game really won't work as it was designed. And this is why maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but they just want to hedge all their bets. And that language is really safe language to say, in case anything goes down, you can't sue us. That's really what the language is about. But you don't have that language with the Xbox expansion card, and that's really a problem. I keep coming back to it. It is not the installation that is really the issue. It's a one-time thing, and people who want to do it, they can follow the instructions. It is 2 screws. 1 screw to take off the stand if you're using it. A lot of people don't, right? And then another screw, 3 screws, right? But the point is, it is simple enough.
It's annoyance. It's annoyance more than anything else.
The installation only looks bad in comparison to what Xbox is doing. Yeah. So I won't fault them for that. Xbox they have a more consumer friendly solution. But the real problem that I don't understand how everyone is just pretending they're not upset. And mind you, I want you to look at who's saying that this is not a big deal, that's saying that this is much to do about nothing. It is all the same people that said Timmy's mom would not know the difference between a Series S and a Series X.
Exactly.
Right? They were so concerned then, but now it doesn't bother you that we're 8 months into this thing and they're telling I saw a meme. Somebody said Xbox SSD plug and play, Sony SSD F and pray, right? And that's really what it comes down to. They've completely washed their hands 8 months into it, and I will completely change my tune if they come out and say we will take responsibility if something goes wrong. And how can they ever do that? Because you don't know if what some SSD from in the middle of nowhere, China, that you got for $79, right? Sony can't be in a position where they have to guarantee that will work. So how can they ever say any third-party SSD won't brick your console? How can they ever provide customer support with that? They can't. My guess is that this thing will stay in beta forever, and that just gives them plausible deniability.
And sorry, no, it's all right. The last point that I want to make as well is people seem to be kind of ignoring the heatsink thing, but even with the heat,
dude, that's a big deal.
Even with the heat sinks on, I'm sorry, but if you have a look inside of your standard PC with an SSD and a heatsink on, you have plenty of headroom and space for that thing to breathe. Yeah. Now, I'm sorry, but even with the heatsink clicked on to that and in that PS5 slot, that thing is snug. And there is absolutely no way that those drives are going to get the correct amount of airflow to perform at maximum optimal efficiency. There's no way.
What gift did I put in the DM, guys?
That's where I was going to go.
Fire. You're gonna have people's consoles bricking.
Hot
you're gonna have
lava.
people's. Yeah, it's gonna be
airflow is absolutely key to these drives working correctly. And I'm sorry, but there is not enough airflow on in that particular slot for the PS5 SSD.
And that is the second reason why they put that hedging of bets. That's reason number 2. Exactly.
Yes. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, though, in that I'm sure they have really smart engineers there that feel like this will work. So until we start seeing houses burn down, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're comfortable enough with the heating issue. My issue mainly comes with them not taking ownership of this solution that they are telling people to use who are spending $500 for this box, let alone a box that you really cannot find because of scalpers. Like it's not like if your console bricked today, you could go and buy another one tomorrow, right? Like
Mhm.
you this solution is not, it doesn't seem like it was tested enough, right? This is why it's in a beta, and you are on your own, and you won't be able to readily replace your console, because I know that Seagate is not going to give me another PS5 if I go and put one of their SSDs in there and something doesn't work.
No, there's no doubt about it. Listen, let's
So
bring
weird.
Kay Asante into the conversation and hear what he has to say about this. And again, I'm glad everyone is clarifying this, because I saw a lot of people talking about the only issue that was the concern was actually installing this thing. Now, I'm not a boob. I could have easily installed it, but my concern is what everyone is talking about, which I did not know. Plugging and playing is super easy, but it's all of this other technical aspect about the heat sink and
Indeed.
thermal paste and the drives potentially bricking your console. It may or may not work with all of your games. Some games may save, some games may not save, and it just goes to show you that people need to stop making excuses for Sony, because they should have owned this. They should have come out and partnered with someone to get the solution done, to say, yes, buy this and we will guarantee it for your console, but they will not do that. And this is why they are a crappy company. End of story.
Oh, by the way, just one more thing on the market aspect. The reason a lot of people, a lot of people were very upset that the Xbox SSD was $219.
Thank you. Yes, 220.
And all of a sudden, everybody gets level-headed now. Well, these are how much SSDs cost. And every time Sony does something, that's when the level-headed, like, let's think like normal human beings. Let's not be hyperbolic. It's not that bad. But then on the Xbox side, it is a 5-alarm fire of pearl clutching and concern trolling all around. So again, what is going to happen though with the market? And we saw this happen. Like Cerny said, he's using that Western Digital Black SSD, and then immediately, because that's the one that is co-signed by it, you started seeing the prices go up on Amazon. Right. And that is what the market does. And the Xbox SSD, aside from the fact that it goes on sale and you can regularly get it for $179 if you're looking in the right place, but Seagate is able to keep that price what it is because they are controlling that whole market. They don't have to compete, so they will make it up in volume, and that price will come down. Right. But I think that there's a balance there to where anyone that Sony kind of whitelists are going to raise their prices. Can you imagine what they're going to charge when they say PlayStation 5 certified? I don't think they're ever going to be cheap.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to think about.
All right, Kay Asante, take it away, brother. Give us your opinion.
Yeah, no. I think everyone here has made some very good points, and actually, that is, we have actually solidified this entire situation very much correctly. To speak to the installation part, I still contend that it's inconvenient and it's annoying. Okay, my use case specifically. Okay, I have a Series S in my office here, and I have a Series X in my living room. Here is my expansion card. On here, you have your Halo, your Ascent, your Death's Door, the flight sim, everything we have been talking about is right here. Right. And when I want to play it, I plug it into my Series X, my Series S, and I'm playing it. My quick resume, everything is there. When I want to go to the living room, I unplug and I plug it back there. I'm there. Take it from a guy who builds PCs. I built it all my life. You're not switching the M.2s when you put it in. It's in there forever. You're never touching it again. You're lucky if you get it in there and it's good. Yes, it's easy to do. It's convenient. I have stepped on shag carpet and roasted an M.2 before because that's possible.
Actually,
I've done that.
Didn't they? I'm sure they mentioned that in one of their things. A kind of caveat was to make sure that you don't have any kind of magnetic things to ground
to
yourself.
To install the M.2,
you
you need to have a special kit to make sure you're grounded, because if you don't and you touch, I've roasted motherboards. I've roasted components that way. Wow. It happens. It's not like, oh, it's going to happen to you every day. No, but it's a concern. So it's inconvenient at best, at the best reading of the situation. It's very inconvenient. But my point on all this is I completely understand why Sony did what they did. And from a business perspective, it makes absolute sense. But from a consumer's perspective, we should not allow it. It should not be appropriate because, like everyone has said here, they're passing the buck on to you. Okay, yeah. The two and folks have already pointed it out correctly. The two main reasons why they hedge their bets there are because when was the last time you called a hard drive manufacturer because it bricked your PC? No, you installed that thing. You're responsible for that thing, right? And as long as they don't have one that says PlayStation branded M.2, they can never expect. That's right. And that's reason one. And reason two is exactly what Dutch said. Not only are you making a proprietary drive, you're then expecting the unwashed masses to go and install consumer grade SSDs, which do not conform to the exact same standard as what you guys have built, right? What they've built is, because the name of the game when it comes to tech is speed and throughput. Speed and throughput. When you get the speed, you get the throughput, but the throughput also brings high IO and it also brings heat, right? So it's not like, oh, this fast thing that you're seeing is the fastest it can be. No, it's as fast as it can be without roasting your machine, without overheating. You know, the reason why your Nintendo Switch still has the SoC from 2015, you know, to this day, the NVIDIA Shield is faster than the Nintendo Switch. They have the exact same SoC. Why? Because the Shield is plugged into the wall and doesn't have to worry about overheating, right? Whereas the Switch has a battery, so they have to throttle that thing down. It's not about, oh, this is the best we've given you. No, it's about intelligent decisions that they make in order for you, the consumer, not to have to deal with it on the back end. And it looks like, from this perspective, they have basically made the decision that eventually you'll have to deal with it on the back end, and we're just going to let you deal with that. Because that's exactly what's happening here. No consumer grade machine, no consumer grade SSD will hit the speed that you ask it to. And if it does, it has to be in a very, very idealistic, optimized condition. I bought an M.2 for my PC here. I had to replace my PC case in order for the airflow to be righteous, in order for it to keep the cool, right? And it's got SSDs all over the place, heat sinks all over the place, including the motherboard heat sink that came with it. The way the motherboards are engineered, they're engineered to make sure that the M.2s literally sit in a place where the fans will blow over it, so that it makes sure that, hey, it's cool. If you look at the PS3 design, it was an afterthought. It's nowhere near the big old fan, right? They have a huge heat sink that they distributed throughout the entire system to keep it cool. That heat sink does not touch the M.2. Right. So it is literally built to not last. You know, Everbon is right in his assertion, and we're all hypothesizing because no official word has come out. I would be very surprised if, because of this, I'd be very surprised if we don't see a revision of the PS5 with the M.2 in a better place.
On as we speak.
Yeah, well, but I mean the M.2 specifically in a better place, because it will work as it stands now. But just like your controller, your DualSense 5 that you love so much, it literally was built with a deadline. It was built with the day you will never be able to use it again. Because like you keep complaining, oh, why does the Xbox have batteries? Yeah, so you can use that controller forever. Yeah. This controller cannot be used forever, and it has a time bomb the day it dies where they will make you replace the whole damn thing. That's what's going on here. That's exactly what's going on.
And that is how you sell more consoles, man. Exactly. You got to think about it.
Exactly. See, that's what did I say? What did I say? From a business perspective, makes perfect sense. This is the iPhone model.
If you don't mind, right here. If you don't mind paying $10 for lip syncing, you'll buy another console, no problem.
That's right. Yeah, this is 100% the iPhone model. 100%. Oh, you don't worry about removing the battery. Don't worry about this. In 2 years, you're going to replace it anyway. Why? Because we said so. That's what this is. And from business perspective, as long as you, the consumer, say, "Yep, I agree," okay. But I think we should all agree that this is not necessarily the best thing that should happen. You
Right.
know, I honestly, personally think, and let's be absolutely clear here. I think that both on Sony and on Microsoft side, there are brilliant engineers that are at the level of ingenuity and excellence that are unrivaled. Okay.
Yeah.
These are always just decisions that are made for business, for longevity. Microsoft has laid the groundwork and made certain moves that they know will benefit them in the long run. I think this was a bad design decision on PlayStation's part, because they wanted that consumer friendly, hey, we get to give you just the standard M.2, but it's not the standard M.2, and it never will be. Maybe we'll say 5-6 years down the line, the M.2 tech will be at a point now where all those speeds are now in standard SSDs, because what you're looking at here from them, this is the tip of the spear. This is the first consumer grade that is even capable of that speed. And anybody that's bought M.2s will tell you it's like a coax. When back in the day when you had the
coax cable,
the coax cable on your internet, they go, oh yeah, you'll get 85 up and down. Yeah, realistically, you're getting 25. And when you're in that perfect storm and no one else is in your neighborhood and you're the only one on Netflix, yeah, you get that 85. That's the ceiling, not the floor.
You know what? Another thing I've just thought about there when we're mentioning ceilings and floors. You're now going to be in a situation in the coming months, etc., where 10, 15 million, depending, you say 5 million of those 10 to 15 million have plugged in a new SSD. They're all varying SSDs of varying performances.
Yep.
So if you're going into something like, for instance, if Sony, like has been mentioned, are going into these new online games and multiplayer games that they're trying to break into, you've got several different types of SSDs, all at varying performances, loading up data and information at different speeds and times, and all having different issues, or some loading quicker, some loading slower. You've got a varying amount of people there that are going to have different experiences to each other. Whereas then you've got the issue on Xbox where everyone has the same internal as they do external. It performs identically to the internal as you do the external. So you don't have an issue. The games load the same for everybody across every device.
And one thing you cued in there, Dutch, to solve that problem, they would have to run a trending analysis or some kind of benchmarking when you put your
individual
first.
Yeah, an individual patches.
Like a sustained just to see how long we can run you for, how hot you can run. Will you meet our floor of being able to play our game, right? That's something that may be necessary in order, because now they're coming into the unwashed masses, as Everborn and the rest of you folks have pointed out. Anybody can put an M.2 that has those theoretical speeds listed on the box. Doesn't mean they will, right? Even the best of the best, Samsung Evo drives, considered by many to be the industry standard, they don't hit the numbers that are set on the box consistently. They're the closest, but they don't hit them. Whereas, as Dutch has correctly pointed out, they engineered a custom solution to give them a floor. And that's what they're building, and Everborn was right with that. That's what they're giving to devs as, hey, this is your number, right? There could be more, but this is your number. So whenever you're building anything, understand that you have at least this.
Yep.
That's right. Understand that you developer have at least this. And if that's what you're giving them, that means every single PlayStation 5 in existence that ever decides to play said game must hit that number. And if it doesn't, it will not continue. And there are two ways that usually you can handle this, right? There's the hey, this is our recommended spec way, and then there's the really hard limit way. Now, what I mean by that is there's the recommended spec way. Right now, if you go to xbox.com/play, right, and you're on some weird mom and pop browser stuff, they'll go, this is not our recommended browser. And then you can go, let me play it anyway. And they'll go, okay, and they'll let you play it anyway. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I've been very close to getting Game Pass running on my Switch, but that's neither here nor there. But on the PlayStation side, I doubt that they will have that, hey, these are our recommended, they'll go, this is the floor we need. If this drive does not pass this 2, 3, 5 minute benchmarking analysis, it doesn't conform and it needs to go.
Null and void.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, and the speed, even if it does conform, then the question becomes for how long? Because do you have a heat sink? What kind of heat sink do you have? Does that heat sink have the proper thermal grease in between it in order to distribute that heat effectively? All of these are equations that none of the normals should ever have to deal with.
Yes.
We deal with that as tech people, and it's annoying as hell. You know,
also, like heat sinks aren't that like complicated. It's like the bigger they are, the better they will perform.
See, you just admitted why that's complicated. You just admitted why that's complicated. They put a small they closed the little.
That's the point. That's the point I'm coming to, right? Like, so how can you have a heat sink that is going to work when you're supposed to close that metal?
That's right.
That metal
so
flat.
It's a bad design. It is a.
I still think that they figured it out. I don't want to say I know more than the Sony engineers. I say it is a travesty that they are not standing behind this thing that they can't stand behind because they don't make it.
I'm flabbergasted at the fact that these design engineers, who we can say in all faith, they did not come there being malicious. This is a very blatant design flaw, like blatant.
It's a major oversight.
You know why?
It's a blatant design flaw.
I mentioned here before. You know why? In my personal opinion, it's because this was not their final design. They got caught off guard when Xbox was there at the Game Awards, showed off the Series X, showed off the design. They let everyone, take this thing apart. They were not ready. This was probably one of a few final prototypes that they had picked out or selected, and they said, which one of these do we think is going to be the most appealing to our fan and it's going to work best? And they pointed this one. Okay,
you're
let's make
absolutely
this
right.
work.
You're absolutely right, because if they're like we've already established, right? They have the fan design and they have the heat sink to distribute it all, and they have just one huge monster heat sink that you can tell they engineered the hell out of, right? And they picked the right size fan to be able to reach all aspects of it. If that was your final design, why would you put your M.2 off on the side? Why not in the middle where the heat sink and the fans live to make sure it stays cool?
Stepchild.
Yeah. Why would why would you put this thing that you didn't engineer it? You didn't engineer it socket size. It exists already. And every motherboard has it existing. And they always have so much room because that's where heat is distributed. And then you put it in a box in the corner? This is you guys make amazing things. What the hell happened here? There needs to be an expose. I need to know, because this is a bad design decision that even plebes like me can recognize.
I just can't understand why they put the testing of said drives into consumer hands, even if that's just in a beta setting.
Yeah.
You're telling me that Sony's engineers couldn't internally test
and that's where I think Everborn is right.
Didn't somebody from
that's where I think Everborn is right. I think Everborn is right on that. They're not testing. They're definitely not testing.
Frizzle in the chat brought this up. What if it never leaves beta? And that's what I was saying over the weekend. I don't think it is. Because if it doesn't leave, I think it's in beta the way xCloud is in beta, right? It's available to everybody. And
how Gmail was in beta for 5 years, that's how this is in beta.
It will give you, if anything goes wrong, it will shield you from any lawsuit to say, hey, we're in a beta. You tried it at your own risk. But if they say it's officially supported and it goes wrong, I think that could leave them open to some sort of litigation or whatever.
And
that's my guess.
Quick. For those who keep talking about, well, I don't know anything about bricking your console. We're not talking about, you put a wrong M.2 in and boom, it bricks your console. No, that's not the case here. The case here is you put an M.2 in. Okay, it hits that speed target.
The
great
benchmark.
Yeah. You even have the heat sink secured. It's great. It's working, right? The system sees it as a component that works. So now you got Ratchet and Clank installed on it. It's running. It's going fast. And of course, every time it uses that SSD, it's bringing out heat. More heat. And remember that Samsung phone thing that became a huge situation a couple years back?
Pockets on fire.
That's what we're worried about right now.
Yeah.
As you go, the system says it's great, and it gets on there, You're talking about it'll start using it like as if it's the internal, and the internal has been tested forever for this purpose, as Dutch correctly pointed out. That internal SSD was soldered on for a reason. You can't buy that at stores. It's not the same stuff, you know. So we're talking about bricking your console, as in you put in, you know, whichever manufacturer that maybe you got a bad batch from. Maybe the heatsink wasn't secured right. I've had to take off the heatsink from my CPU because between the CPU and the actual chip of the CPU, they didn't put enough enough thermal grease in there, and because of that, I was losing frame rate when I was playing games. So I had to literally, me, myself, and I, crack that thing open and then put some amazing stuff called liquid metal in there. And then 2 weeks later, everybody knew what liquid metal was. I think you guys know when that happened.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that you do when you are building your own stuff. And they're bringing this, they're using that beta, as Everborn correctly points out, they're using that beta terminology to put all that on you. So it's up to you to know which thermal grease you're using. It's up to you to make sure that it's correctly working. And if it's not working and it overheats and all of a sudden causes some issues, they get to go, well, it was a beta. We did warn you.
I figured it out. I figured it out, everybody. Light bulb just went off in my head. Sony knows their audience, and they know that every PlayStation owner has built a monster PC.
Yeah.
So installing the SSD will be nothing.
Mark my words.
It all makes
Write
sense.
this down. Like, bookmark this podcast. A year from now, there will be less than a year from now. There will be a lot of people talking about, yo, and this happened, and then that happened, and then you remember those screens where when the PS5 first came out, and then the screen would explode in color. Yeah, when your SSD is not performing at that right speed, or when it's overheating, the stuff on your TV screen will be glorious. We shall see.
Yeah, only time will tell. You know what, Pong So, let's get your opinion on this. Everyone has really brought their A game when it comes to the technical specs as to why this is a bad idea and why Sony is leaving their customers out in the cold. I mean, first of all we have to look at is they launched the PS5 with an 825 gig hard drive, not even a terabyte. So it gave you 675, potentially even a little bit lower. Now here it is 8-9 months later, like everyone was saying, the solution is, hey, do it yourself. And oh, by the way, hands off if your console gets bricked. What are your thoughts on this?
First of all, Boom, congratulations on bringing all the tech heads in, because like you, I only know the basics. So, man, that was incredible, right? So breaking it down perfectly as far as the tech side goes. So I'm going to come at it more from Mag's side as far as the consumer goes, because I'm sick and tired of hearing people say, oh, it's no big deal, it's not a problem, stop it. Look, if you want to be selfish and you only want to think about yourself, and I know gaming is a selfish hobby, I get that, right? I understand that point of view. You are correct. That's fine if you're only going to think about yourself. But if you're going to look at this from a business standpoint, if you're going to look at this from a major electronics developer, creator, whatever you want to call them in Sony, you're, especially when it comes to consumer electronics, convenience is the name of the game. When you get a mass marketed device into a household, you want your consumers to feel not only confident in that device, but you also want them to feel that that device is going to last, and that they are going to be able to add things that they have the ability to add as easily as possible, whether it's speakers, whether it's putting a CD in a CD, a CD tray, it does not matter. You want that experience to be the best it can be. And when it comes to consumers, again, you have to think of everyone. I don't care if it's 0.5% of the average consumers that ever wind up going to put in an SSD, which I think it's more than that at the end of the day. But even if you take that low percentage, you're supposed to develop for the lowest common denominator when it comes to the consumer, because that way you know that you've got everybody covered. And so when you do something like this, look, let me tell you, I used to work in mobile phones. Okay. I used to sell mobile phones. You want to see something crazy is back in the day with micro USB plugins, do you want to see people's charging ports after a week of use? You'd think plugging in a charging cable would be the easiest thing in the world. I found out that that's not the case. Okay. I had people coming in after a week with their brand new phone with their charging port completely mangled.
Destroyed.
Okay. Destroyed. Right. And I'm like, how did you do this? Well, it didn't want to go in right. So I just forced it in there. Okay. All right.
Pause.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Pause. But this is what I'm saying, that the average consumer, no matter how easy you may think it is, it's not for the average consumer. It really, truly isn't, no matter what we're talking about. Again, what's the first question to ask when you call to say that your PC isn't working or your TV isn't working? Is it plugged in? Why do you think they ask that? Because how many people have actually called in and said, oh, yeah, you're right, it's not plugged in, right? So they have to ask that question. So when you design a product like this that is meant to be in as many homes as possible, that is meant to be played with by not only adults, but let's not forget, video games started out as a children's device, right? That's where you have to look when you create something. Now, Sony has been known to out-engineer themselves in the past. We saw the cell processor. Every company is known to out-engineer themselves at some point or another. Look at the Xbox One era when they decided to go TV, multimedia, everything but video games, and oh yeah, added the Kinect on there, which took away power from the developers, right? So that there's always this aspect that you can over-engineer something, overthink it, or not plan ahead far enough. You're seeing two different philosophies. When you see what Xbox, Jason Ronald and his team did, they thought about the entire experience from the time you get your box and you open that box up and you pull out your new series console, to the time you're plugging it in, to the time that you are going to sign in, and all of a sudden, all your games, all your saves are there. The entire consumer experience is as streamlined as possible. And that goes to the expansion SSD that they developed, whether it's proprietary or not. They decided from the get-go that they were going to make that process as easy as possible. Whereas Sony was obviously not thinking about that for whatever the reasons. And everybody had great points and possibilities. And again, that's another one of those stories I'd love to be written as far as where they were in the process with the PS5. If when the Series X was announced and they found out really what was going on inside of it, that they said, whoa, back to the drawing board. We got to do something here, overclock, whatever the case may be. And it changed everything. I'd love to know that story. But the point being is that obviously Sony, somewhere along the way, forgot about the consumer experience. Okay. And it doesn't matter. Again, if it's a small percentage of people that ever wind up doing this, it does not matter. People forget that Sony PlayStation 1 had the little memory cards, right? If you don't remember that, parents were out there buying those in droves, okay? And they weren't video game parents. They were just the parents of kids who happened to play video games, because video games were nowhere as mainstream as they are now. They had no idea what they were buying, but when they did walk into a store and little Timmy or little Janie had asked them, hey, I need some more memory for my PlayStation, Mom. When they walked in there and said, hey, I need more memory, I need a memory something for my PlayStation, I don't know what it is, my kid's got the video game console, whoever it was that was helping them would walk them over to the Sony PlayStation section and say, here you go, here's your memory cards right here, 8 megabits, pull it out, there you go, this is all I need. Yep, that's all you need. You just plug it in the front. Your kids will probably know how to do it, but you just plug it in the front, no big deal. You walk out. They paid for it and they walked out. Now somebody's going to walk in and say, hey, my kid's saying he's got all these games and it's full on the PlayStation 5. And, his buddies say they got this memory, and they can make it, give it more expansion or whatever the case may be. Because again, let's face it, parents nowadays are a little bit more tech savvy. So they'll have some idea, but they're going to be thinking about that. They're going to get these cards or something easy. And all of a sudden the guy or the gal's going to walk them over to the PC section and say, well, we got these SSDs here that are compatible. And and you're gonna be, and they're gonna be like, wait, no, I said PlayStation.
Do you want one with heat sink? One without
right,
heat
exactly.
sink?
That's
Do you
the
need
next
thermal
thing.
grease? Do you want one without
Right.
thermal grease? Like,
Right.
It has to be PCIe Gen 4.
Right.
Gen 4 versus Gen 3. Yeah.
And then you've lost them. And then you've completely lost them. And you expect them to go home, look it up, read it, no matter how easy it is. Again, I go back, work in cell phones for a little bit, and you understand how this is, whatever you think is simple is not simple to the average consumer. And then they're going to go home, take apart the PlayStation 5 and figure out how to put this thing in. Again, they got out engineered. Jason Ronald and his team went up and beyond to think about the consumer experience. Sony, somewhere along the way, lost that. They did not think about it. Sony's thought about it in the past. They've done very good jobs in the past. Again, every company can go and have these faux pas where it just, look, for whatever reason, they weren't thinking, right? And so I just believe that we are seeing this as one of those examples where they decided, again, because they put so much R&D into their internal SSD, and they had to push that as their main advantage in this generation that they were going to pump out. And all of a sudden, now you need an off-the-shelf PC part to go in there, and you're not going to be able to guarantee performance. And oh, by the way, buyer beware, we're not responsible for whatever happens to your PlayStation 5 once you get it in there. That to me is not
egregious.
Correct.
That's
to me,
really the only like real thing I have an issue with. Until we have data proving all the heat stuff that we speculate, I don't think we should worry about that. It is that they are washing their hands of it and not taking any responsibility. Like imagine I don't know. Imagine if Xbox during the 3 red rings of death was like, yeah, you on your own.
Right.
Well,
they tried.
It's a different
they tried.
scenario.
They
It's
tried
a bit
to
of
say
a different
it
scenario there. Though.
Right. It
The
is.
great thing is, I was going to say, do you know what the great thing is about the Xbox solution as well, though, is all of the third-party teams that are working on the expansion solutions for them going forward are making proprietary cards for the Xbox going forward.
Yeah.
So they work identical. So regardless of size, they work identical to the internal, have the same features, have the same heat specs, do not overheat, do not. So they have got that dialed down. So they've got a mandate to all of these SSD providers that are going to be creating SSDs for the Series X and S, but they will all match this particular feature set, and they will all run according to plan.
And even further to your point there, Dutch, when you have a problem with them, right now it's Seagate, but you'll have other manufacturers. Guess who you'll call? Xbox.
You'll call
because that's what this is.
Yeah.
It's still an Xbox proprietary device. If I have a problem with this, I don't call Seagate, I call Xbox. And they will work with Seagate to find me a solution. They won't go, well, you bought a Seagate thing, throw your hands in the air. No, they will, because this thing is an Xbox device.
Honestly, though,
that's my final question, though, is why did Sony, like, if they're going to do this, fine. If they had to go this route, whatever the case may be, why don't or haven't they teamed up with somebody to create an official
I asked that
5
because they don't
SSD?
exist. Because they're not. Because the one that they need in order to get the one that's inside the PS5, like a variation of it exactly like that in a consumer's hands, will cost you way more. Than
and I get that part. Well, why not team up with somebody and say, hey, these are at least we've tested them and they work without flaw,
nobody wants to put their name behind it. You're trying to put
responsibility.
Yeah, you're trying to put because like the process of making this thing work the way it does internally is basically turning them into server grade devices, right? You've heard them say that when they said RDNA 2 processors are server grade, it's because the difference is they are made so that the heat does not become a limiting factor of their use case, right? Unlike consumer grade devices, which, as Dutch has said, are work in spurts because, it gets hot, cool down. It gets hot, cool down. These server grade things are made to dissipate heat and continue running at a sustained clip, right? You can find one of those in the consumer space today, but it's like $700 for that sustained speed thing.
Also, like to your point, Kay, like the Xbox solution is Gen 4, but it is giving you Gen 3 speeds because they are giving you what is sustainable, right? and that's the reason it is a lower speed, even though it is.
Thank you so much for saying that. Every time anybody says that, it irks me a little bit. I'm not specifically to this. It's not about Xbox guy. It's tech guy. They both are PCIe 4.0. Both of them are, right? The PlayStation is pushing the PCIe protocol really hard to get those fast speeds, but that comes with speed. Speed comes with heat and issues and whatnot. Xbox has the same socket, same PCIe 4.0 protocol, which has the potential for that much throughput, but they're not pushing it on the hardware. They're pushing it on the software. So they keep the speed, the actual hardware throughput at PCIe 3 levels, but then they use the software to double it and double it and double it. And that's where you get your floor that's really, really, really high compared to PlayStation ceiling that's really, really high.
Shout out to Velocity Architecture.
Exactly.
Well,
that's what we're talking about.
Listen, let's grab before we obviously we folks we're over the 2-hour mark where we still have 300 people here because obviously we're talking a bunch. I mean the tech guys of the panel completely knocked it out of the park. If I would have had to speak this, it would have sounded like a foreign language. So I'm glad that I have these guys that know what they're talking about. Tempest Son is a PC guy. He knows he builds PCs. Listen, the guy builds Gundam models. Enough said. That's all I have to say. All right, because you need the patience of the same for that. But let me just catch up with some of the super chats, and then we'll get right to you. Geezer Prime drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says Sony pushed the PlayStation 5 on the fact you use SSDs from anyone that will be cheaper / faster. Now it's more expensive and will brick your system. No, thank you. Drawn TJ drops a $5 super chat and says, hey, Boom and panel, Sony should be ashamed of themselves. And I can't wait for Halo Infinite. Love you guys. Great show. Well, we love you too, brother. And thank you for being here. Sir X-Man drops an additional $2 super chat and says, the PlayStation 5 will not fit in most Japanese apartments. The Japanese apartments are small, and the PlayStation 5 is rather large, but I think it's over. I think you're over exaggerating, but Reggie Mobile 9, generous friend of the show, he drops a $10 super chat and says, great show, Boom, and incredible panel. Indeed, they are. Sony knew what they were doing, but if there's anyone that could pull this off without much drawback, it's Sony. Sony's popularity will insulate them. Yeah, I agree for now, but I think eventually that bridge is going to crumble beneath their feet. And we have Kiz in the chat, or maybe he's a fan of Kiss, my favorite band. He drops an outstanding $15 chance. Is another thing to consider here. Going off what Pong Soul was saying is how effectively will Sony be able to communicate the instructions and requirements to the casual fan base? You know what? They won't, and they don't actually give a flying hoot, which is the big problem. But let's get your opinion on this, Tempest Son. Hearing everyone's opinion, knowing about PCs, is this another bad move for Sony?
Yeah, honestly, there's really, the panel's on fire tonight, man. There's really nothing I could actually new that I could add. I could only come to it from like my perspective, you know, how I feel on it. I have built PCs and things like that years ago. Years ago, I was like a young teenager. I used to really care about PC stuff and getting into the inner workings and things like that. Listen, bro, nowadays that I don't have the time. I don't have the time to care one bit about doing this. And I tell you what, as somebody that doesn't own a PS5 yet, Sony's not doing a good job at selling this console to me. Right. That's my opinion, is not doing a good job. Am I more than capable of doing it? Absolutely, 100%. Do I want to do it? No, definitely don't want to have to deal with that. It's a console, and I can tell you this as somebody that has a Xbox Series S now. Thank goodness I found one. The little thing is freaking amazing, little guy. And then I have the Series X, and I can tell you from experience that little card is so cool. It is like stupid easy, right?
Yeah.
It's instantaneous, and you know everybody can have their opinion on proprietary cards. If the price wouldn't be regulated, and if in the future Microsoft didn't open it up for more companies, which they said they're going to, to open it up to more companies to make their cards. All that is going to drive the price down on these little things. Yeah, proprietary cards on things like the Vita and things like that really sucked. Why? Because they were so much money, right? Already, everybody thought these things were overpriced. Now, all of a sudden that Sony opened theirs up, theirs are a bit quicker, of course, but if you look at the price comparison, for what you're getting, it's really not all that bad. And as the price goes down, it's going to be just easier and easier. And, I forget who it was, but I think it was Mag. It was saying that you go to the store and the person there that helps you at the store is going to just take you to where the peripherals and stuff are. And they're not going to be able to do that with Sony. They're not going to have little, SSDs just sitting there to just pop in and play. Xbox is. So that's where I'm coming at this is I've used the Xbox's solution and it is stupid easy. It takes zero effort. It works perfectly. And on the other hand, man, some people can sit there and say we're blowing it out of proportion, but we are not. There are some people that aren't even going to attempt to install that hard drive. It's not even going to be an option for them.
I'm not doing it.
Right there. So you're one of them. I'm that. Yeah. And you know what? It's justified. Who wants to do that with their console? I've never seen anything like it before, to be honest with you. So I just, I don't know, man. I think it's honestly a huge mistake. I think as time goes on, man, it's just like this console was undercooked, man. It was raw. Yeah. As Ramsey would say, it's raw. It's raw, dude. I don't know how else to say it. It's just undercooked. And it's a shame. I mean, you know what this tells me is we are going to see a revision. It's sooner than later. They're going to have to.
I was just about to ask that. How many people think that we're going to see that in the PS5 Pro, and all of a sudden,
100%
M.2 is in a better position now? All of a sudden,
there's no doubt about it. As a matter of fact, I think the problem with that is that yes, that's coming, but here is the problem. What they would logistically be abandoning the 10 million or 7.5, because obviously there's like a 2.5 million in scalpers garages right now as we speak. 7.5 million active consoles that they would be, again, if they did this tomorrow, would be abandoning it, and they'd be like, well, you can trade your old one in for like $200 or $300, and you can buy the new one for $600 because the Pro is going to be more expensive.
I don't think they would admit that those are faulty. They would market that away. You're part of the beta program. But the ones that get out of the beta program will be the ones that have the Pro one that doesn't have that hardware limitation.
I think the best thing Sony can do at this point is make their own. M2 drive.
Yes,
right?
I agree.
No, it doesn't have to be proprietary.
Well, put their name on one.
Spec, right? It's one. Sony makes it. That's it. This is the one you use with your console.
Also, cover it.
Whenever there's a problem, you should be able to call PlayStation about.
Well, hold on. Let me stop you right there, though, because this is another thing. This is another thing. Like, have you ever tried to get a hold of Sony customer support?
It's only theoretical.
I'm thinking about this now, and I'd probably rather call Western Digital than Sony if something went wrong with my console, because they're not going to do anything for you.
No.
Yeah.
So Sony's customer service is the worst in the business. Quick story. My brother, Neo Mental, had pre-ordered Destiny 2 on the PS4 and the Xbox One. And he's like, you know what? I'm not going to get both because I'm not going to have the time. I'm going to be stuck in this project. So I'm just going to play it on Xbox where everyone of my friends are playing it. He said, he tried to cancel it and they wouldn't allow him to cancel the pre-order. So what he did is he went through his credit card company and he said, listen, this is a pre-order. It's not out yet. You have to help me out. Sony won't give me my money back. Do you know that they bricked his account and it would not unlock his account until he paid for Destiny 2? Like the mafia, bro. It's crazy that they continue to get away with this, and people
a quick digression. Yes. That is why people keep talking about it. That is why I'm still on my square. That is why Cyberpunk was removed from the store. It's not necessarily, yes, it was bad, but it also points out that there's no return policy.
No,
there still
there
is
none.
no return policy to this
Nope.
day. And every time that thing was in the store, it would bring that up. Hey, yeah, this game sucks, but why is there no return policy? Yeah, this sucks, but why is there no? So they got rid of it. And now
Yeah.
it's back because it's more use. It can play, but still the problem persists. There is no return policy. And as
Yeah.
long as you PlayStation fans are okay with that, there will continue to be no return policy. Insane.
It's
What business where you can just, oh yeah, all sales are final always? Really?
forever.
Forever.
Yeah, no,
like
yeah.
without
Hurry up
even
and get
touching the
out.
product. Without even getting to see the product or touching the product.
Hello,
Oh,
get
you
out.
have your
No,
money,
listen.
it's mine now. Like,
Yeah.
come
The
on
main
now.
difference that speaks volumes here, though, and then people have to realize this, is Sony was never a PC, or
Company.
should we say, PC company. They never made personal computers from the
No,
start.
they did. They had the Sony Vaio, right? They had
Yes, they
those
did.
laptops.
Yes, they did.
No, they had the.
Yeah.
They
The
did.
Vaio, okay. But
Yeah.
are they primarily a PC company? Because
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Microsoft were and always have been from the very get-go, and that is the difference between this is not just about just creating a product. Microsoft know how to create PCs. They also know everything to do with SSDs. They know everything to do with RAM and CPU and GPU because they've been doing it from the get-go. Sony primarily were always about multimedia, about TVs, Walkmans, audio. They were all about the viewing experience more than the actual hardware itself. Now that is where this comes into play and why there's such a difference in the engineering. You can say the PlayStation was an engineering marvel, but there is some major oversights that the differences in companies start to show. One of them is primarily a PC player and always has been. The other one is not. So they know the differences. They know what to look out for. They know how to solve these issues. What is required, what is not required. That is really what's speaking volumes from both these companies at the moment.
Well,
Oh, you're absolutely right. 100%.
I'm going to
I
say
agree,
this. Like I said, this is one of those topics that we could probably go on for 3 more hours, and unfortunately, we'd all be dead. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call time. I'm gonna wrap it up, folks. Listen, we had close to 400 people here. That's a big deal. And again, obviously, there are other forces that we're battling, and somehow or another, the conversation is still so interesting. And the people that I keep bringing to that not only are a part of this panel, but the guests always bring their A game each and every week. Real quick, Kiz drops an additional, a $23 super chat and says the instructions and required specs won't come in the box. How will the casual fan base know the SSD needs a heat sink, but that it can't be over 11.5 millimeters in height? Is a tweet or a blog post enough? No, it's certainly not. And that's why Sony needs to be, we need to, as consumers, put their feet to the fire and tell them that this is not acceptable. I'm not buying a heat sink. I'm not buying an SSD for my PlayStation 5. The memory is what it is, and I'll just delete stuff. And when I'm done with a game, like for instance Ratchet and Clank, you won't need to keep it in your console. When I need space, I'll just delete it. Whatever.
You know, the final point of that, Boom, though, is unfortunately, unlike a lot of Europe, if not most of Europe, there is no data caps over here. In the US, you've still got a lot of companies with data caps. And this is a problem for Sony PlayStation fans, especially if that SSD thing does not come out of beta and that isn't ruled out to the general public, and this space starts to cause an issue later on in the gen. Your data cap is going to be an issue because you can't just uninstall and reinstall and uninstall and reinstall, because that's just you're never going to be able to do anything.
You're limited, you're going to be in trouble. There's
I mean, you could transfer to the external, like, regular hard drive. They allow that, but
they started doing that,
because of the same reason you're talking about, Dutch. Like, but I think people with data caps just have to get an external hard drive and then move things back and forth. But that's a stopgap for this SSD issue. Boom, I know we got to get out of here, but there's one thing I wanted to say that will only take 2 seconds. I think the Ratchet numbers are actually good because that's a 10% attach rate, and any console platform that can do a 10% attach rate on a game is what they really look for, right? Like, so Spider-Man sells 10 million because there's 100 million PlayStations. 10 million is par for the course for a bigger game. Returnal is another story altogether, which we can talk about another day. But I think $1 million for Ratchet is good. And especially if Horizon isn't coming out this holiday, it's going to be a barn burner this holiday for people that are just getting console.
I would disagree with you there, because the people that are buying the PlayStation 5s are considered the hardcore. And if 7.5 million customers, let's just say, for instance, there are 2.5 million of these in people's garages named Steve. Let's just say that Steve the Scalper has 2.5
What did Steve do to you, Boom? Jeez.
You know what? I'm not going to show you where Steve touched me on the doll, because then I'm going to open up a can of worms. What I am going to say, though, is if there is 7.5 hardcore, which that's who's buying the play. The casuals are not buying a $500 console. And again, having to find this thing. The normies aren't going out to buy this. So here's my point with that before we get out of here. 7.5 million hardcore PlayStation fanboys, girls, and whatever else you want to put in there.
And dogs and puppies,
cats, everyone living together.
We're included. Great. We also have the console. We're part of that.
Right. Hardcore. So if you're telling me that these hardcore people who went out of their way and were on refresh 3 screens open, refreshing to get their PlayStation 5s, didn't buy Ratchet and Clank, $1 million out of that 7.5 million is not really that good, considering that their first party games are the best of the best of the best, sir. You know what I'm saying? So I would disagree with you just for that reason, because then what does that say about the fan base? They're all bark and no bites.
But I think that any AAA game from Xbox or AAA exclusive from Xbox or Sony, I think that they always do. If that's a mega hit if you can get 10% of the fan base. It's only Nintendo that will do 20% of the install base.
Saying that though, Rise Son of Rome sold 560,000 units in the first 2 months alongside a console uptake of 3.5 million. So the attach rate was far higher, even on a much weaker console at the time. So exclusives, especially for a hardcore majority, and that's why I kind of agree with Boom there. It's the initial uptake is the hardcore, and especially when you're in a particular area of the generation where the exclusives are few and far between. And I mean, PlayStation, outside of, you've got Spider-Man, but that's on both consoles. Returnal is the next
that's why I did 6.5 million, because it's in both.
Exactly, it's on both, yeah. But Ratchet on one console, specifically for them hardcore 7.5 million that did uptake the console initially. You would expect, I would see more of a, I would expect more of a 2 to 2.5 million in that opening month.
Yes.
Look at Breath of the Wild and the Wii U.
Yeah, but Nintendo's different. You can't compare.
Yeah, Nintendo's like 50%.
Sure,
uptake.
Sure, but
Nintendo has the most 20 million sellers of anyone. No,
you're right.
No,
you're right. But
look
at the scenario.
Xbox or Sony very rarely does 20 million.
Like, no, you're absolutely right. But still, look at the scenario. This was the time when they could have repeated that Nintendo number. Ratchet and Clank, the game they showed to prove the next the hardcore platform. There was no other game there. Xbox had no game to compete. Everyone who had a PS5 should have had Ratchet and Clank. And the fact 100%. that's not even 50%, that's a little surprising.
But was Ratchet always a big seller?
No, no, that's
Ratchet
been my
was,
point.
Yeah,
that's why everybody was hyping Ratchet
either.
and Clank, because it was a showpiece, right? It was a showpiece, which everybody's waiting for when they get their new console. I got to show off my new console. Ratchet and Clank definitely does that. But Ratchet and Clank historically has not been a huge seller. Now, I'll give him credit.
It's $40.
Right.
Yes.
And it did beat, it's the fastest selling Ratchet and Clank so far, which I always knew it was going to be, obviously, just because it was the showpiece for the PS5. But everybody's saying, oh, Ratchet and Clank is going to be huge, blah, blah. Dude, Ratchet and Clank's always been kind of niche. It's always been one of those that everybody waits for a sale and then goes and plays, right? It's a great game. I like Ratchet and Clank, but it's just not that seller.
So speaking of that, is this $70 gonna hurt them on value.
100%.
Right? In the long run.
Teams
right?
try to be doing that. Yeah.
For certain games, yeah, for sure.
Especially in this economy as well at the minute, you've got to think as well. The entire world is coming out of a place where they've either been on furlough, they've been out of work, they've had issues due to COVID worldwide. $70 is a big drop for any game, let alone every game $70. There's another discussion for another day, but this is why Xbox with Game Pass is really helping the consumer right now, specifically in this kind of day that we're in.
Yeah, I totally understand what everybody's saying, but I still think, again, Returnal's a different story, but Ratchet, I think $1 million at this stage,
it's good, but it's not great.
And it's probably better than the series has done in that short of a time.
Yeah, no, it's the fastest selling Ratchet. So yeah.
No, I mean, again, folks, this has been a great conversation. We had a lot of tech information that came from people that actually know what they're talking about. If you enjoy today's 2.5-hour podcast, and again, that's the second one in a row, and obviously this is a monster panel, and we're happy that you're here. You're enjoying the conversation. Put this out on social media. Say, hey, listen, Primetime Gaming. Those guys know what they're talking about, and send them this way. If you're here, hit the like button. Pixelbit G drops a generous $2 super chat and says, wonder what drives are in the series servers. I honestly wouldn't know, to be honest. I honestly don't know. That's a good question. Maybe we'll have an answer for you on one of the upcoming Xbox podcasts for sure. But thanks for being here, Pixel. Definitely appreciate that. Listen, let's get everyone out of here. We'll start with our special guest, Pong Soul. You're doing double duty. You're going to be back here tomorrow at 12 p.m. And we have an incredible show because Joe from Song of Iron is going to be joining us, not only to tell us about, give us a developer update on his game, which is releasing on the 31st of this month, folks. And, of course, is an Xbox exclusive. You can play it on PC, but it's an Xbox exclusive, Song of Iron. But he's going to be hanging out, and we're going to be talking about a funny story. I don't want to give it away. It's so funny. It's so ridiculous. Pong knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's why he's smiling, and we have a lot to get into. Of course, we're going to talk about one of the big games, or the indie games that was shown at the Annapurna showcase on Friday that the Indie Gamer was talking about. Again, if you like Xbox, tomorrow we have a great show for you. It's the first of 2 shows this week. Of course, it's the Tuesday show. We do have a Thursday panel, which I'm literally writing that show right now. But Pong, tell everyone about Living Split Screen, what other shows you're on, and where else they can reach out to you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Boom. What a great night. This is like the best part of the community. You have this huge panel, and you've got everybody on here who is passionate about video games, but everybody has their own unique perspectives and their own unique knowledge. But you can gather a group of people together who just love video gaming enough, and you can have the tech heads and you can have the other guys who just enjoy games and look at it from a different way. This is just awesome, Boom. I absolutely love this stuff, and you are one of the best at putting these panels together, and nothing but love and respect. But obviously, Kay Asante, fantastic to finally be on a show with you. Wandering Dutch, much love, brother. Living Split Screen, now part of the Midweek Collective. Nothing but love, man. You've helped out so much, and we've got big places and big things to do. So love seeing you here. Tempest Sun, awesome to have you back on Prime Time. Great to be on a show with you. It's been a while, sir. I think we've had 1 or 2, but absolutely love being on shows with you. And your Gundam tweets are amazing. Everborn, sir. You are one of the most talented men in the community, and I absolutely love what you do, and every show you bring it. So, man, nothing but respect and love to you, sir. Mag. What can I say, man? Always love hanging out with you. Always love being in chats when you're on shows. Gaming After Dark, obviously, absolutely one of my favorites. So, man, it's always a pleasure to be here with you. Chat, you guys were incredible. Sticking out all the talk and adding to the discussion. Absolutely phenomenal. So everybody find me Pong Soul everywhere. Twitter, Xbox, the drill there. Tomorrow morning, just like Boom said, find me Xbox Factor Podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern. I'll be there ready with bells on. Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate with Fun Speculation, a.k.a. Mav, his amazing wife, Caitlin, and the rest of the Magnificent 7, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Saturday mornings, Living Split Screen. My brother from another, Steel Rain, and myself will wake you up. So be there, set those alarms, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time. Come by, get your energy, get all the talk you need. We had, 3 hours last week. So just him and I. So come by and check us out there. And then otherwise, Saturday nights, the Shop Podcast is back this week. We had a break last week, but PTK, Blam, Centurion, Fuzzy Belvedere, and Staggerilla hopefully will be coming back soon. But come check us out there, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Otherwise, you never know where I'll show up, like tonight. So always be ready. Be checking those Twitters, but otherwise, love you all. Thank you all, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Kay Asante, let's get you on out of here, brother. You the first one here, as always, early into the green room so we can catch up. Tell everyone about your 2 weekly podcasts with the master slanderer himself, Everborn Saga. I mean,
he's
listen,
building quite a name for himself, isn't he?
He certainly has. He's like, what happened? What I do? I didn't say a master slanderer. Listen, I only am going on what I'm hearing. You can't blame me for actually speaking. You got to talk to who's actually giving you the slander. But that's Kay Asante. Talk about whether people can reach out to you on social media, and more importantly, check out your 2 weekly shows.
Thank you so much, Boom. Thank you guys so much for being in the chat. My panelists, always great to have you. Pong, you know, it's been a while coming, because I'm always in chats with this man. I need to see this man. We should podcast more often. This was awesome. I appreciate all your insight, and you know, you're very eloquent, and you know that, man. That's why you're everywhere these days. Come on now. So yes, thank you so much, and all the panelists. You know, as usual, you guys always bring your A game, and I always appreciate, you know, the challenging me on my opinions, making them better. It's always good. I appreciate you guys always being here and working with me that way. But yes, Kay, you can find me on Twitter, TKO Asante. We do the weekend podcast, which we this weekend we will be pushing it a little bit. It might be a little later. I will have the logistics worked once I have my guests' timelines worked. He's in Canada, so you know we have to adhere to these Canadians and their time schedules. You know, as the man looks at me with a side eye. So yes, the gaming circle this weekend will possibly be probably noon Eastern Standard Time, because I'm trying to get my boy Mashanu Loon, veteran developer, back on here. Hopefully we can chop it up with Everborn. Everborn wasn't there the last time he was on, so hopefully we'll have a great show. This Thursday, though, we will be on the reel. We don't know how it'll go down, because there's a lot to discuss, and that's where a lot of slander seems to happen. I will let Everborn fill in the details, but please, if you haven't come and check out on the reel, you need to do that. That is Thursday. That is 8 o'clock. You leave a little bit. You leave a little upset if you like Batman and a few other of your staple.
This week's victim might be Fast 9, because I'm getting ready to watch that one tomorrow.
Oh, I can't wait for you to see this movie, man. I got thoughts. We're gonna have a conversation.
It's funny. You guys put this show together just literally in the nick of time, especially if you're an MCU fan. We got next week, man. We got the start of
What If?
Dude.
Suicide Squad is also coming up.
Yes,
yeah,
and I hear
4th.
Suicide Squad. The reviews are great, so I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that one as
I've
well.
seen it on the weekend.
You saw the movie?
Yes,
of course he did, because it's in the UK right now, but it's not here
Mother,
yet.
father,
That's
sister,
right.
brother.
Oh,
Wow.
is it not?
I'm breathing. I'm just breathing. It's fine. So yes. Anyway, find me on TKO Asante. By the way, the YouTube channel is going quite well for the Gaming Circle podcast. Please help me hit 100 subscribers, just 100, so then I can actually change the gobbledygook after YouTube.com to make it something.
What are you
that
sitting
I can
on at the moment,
subscribe. I thought it was 75, something like that.
We'll get you that tomorrow.
We got to get.
I
Yeah,
appreciate.
we got. Yeah.
There's a bunch
Yeah,
of folks
I
that
need
are-
everybody on the panel to tweet the link to Kay Asante's channel, and we'll all retweet it, and we'll get him over 100. I think we can do this by tomorrow.
I appreciate that.
We absolutely should.
Thank you, gentlemen.
100%.
Thank you. So yeah, there's a bunch of folks in the chat that always come and join us. Our conversations get crazy and rowdy, and that's how we love it. So thank you guys so much for checking this out, coming to check us out, and we'll see you guys next week. Please, thank you.
Well, thank you for being here, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Everborn Saga. Let's talk about your startup company, the Everborn Saga, and more importantly, the 2 shows that you're on. Of course, one on the reel is something you used to do before, and now you're doing it again. Great time to talk about films because, quite frankly, there's a lot coming out. Talk about it.
Yeah, man. So we do it every Thursday at 8. King David is our honorary co-host, so he joins us sometimes. But it's me, Mr. K. Asante, and my brother, LeVar. And we usually, I don't even have a topic yet other than maybe Fast 9. But we usually pick the topic on Wednesday and just go off. So it's a fun show, and we like to be very informative. Last week, we talked about the implications of Scarlett Johansson suing Disney and what it means for profit participation in for talent and streaming providers. And that's a big thing that everybody should pay attention to. Whole Law did a video about it too, so check that out. But anyway, also, as you know, every Saturday, 10 a.m. on K. Asante's channel for the Gaming Circle. But if you want to get a hold of me, it is Everborn Saga everywhere. That is Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, YouTube, but most importantly, and also Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that. Everborn Saga, you'll find me. But most importantly, check out everbornsaga.com where you can get all the books that we make. And I know almost everybody on this panel has it. You guys have seen the quality of the hardcover Prince of Arcadia, Ariel's Adventures, I think our best work to date. And we have some new things coming soon. So you can check all that out, like the poster and stuff behind me. We sell the Everborn caps because apparently, according to Slow-Mo, I've graduated as a capologist. So I made a cap to sell.
They also put some pink foil on top of it. So when you're doing
the tin foil hat.
The crazy stories underneath it, there's nice tin foil for you for those who want that. So yes,
but yeah, everbornsaga.com. Check it out. You can get the books there. Every book comes signed personally by me, also with a letter. And we try to do the most high quality comics that you can get, comics/manga. So check it out. We're trying to tell an epic fantasy that is Game of Thrones meets X-Men. So nice. I could go on more, but I won't. Big panel, but thank you everybody, and I hope your PS5 SSD doesn't burn down your house.
One can help. Middle-aged gamer guy, let's get you on out of here, brother. We didn't get a visit from Tony Baloney. I think that he's potentially being indicted as we speak, but we'll keep that under the table. Tell everyone about what other shows you on.
Yes,
what you got going on in the music world. What could potentially be coming around very soon. And where can people reach out to you on social media?
All right. Well, I'll keep it short and sweet, guys. Panel, you guys were amazing. Chat, you guys were amazing. We had a lot of people in there tonight. That was really nice to see. We had some great topics tonight. And yes, you can follow me on Twitter at the Middle Age Game Guy. That's with a GY at the end. On the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X, you can find me at all one word, all capitals, because I don't know how to be quiet. I am the Mag. And of course, yes, you can find me here every Monday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick XL and friends. And of course, every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, you can find me on Gaming After Dark. That's with none other than Noof Nukem and Titan Drago. And yes, we are we're doing some funny work over there. Anyways, as for the music thing, yes, I will be working with Pulse Music Media. However, we are still in the processing stage of getting everything up and running again. So we should be doing something by September, October, the latest. For me and for us, unfortunately, mostly for me, it's about the quality, not the quantity, because I just don't have the damn time to do it all. But anyways, guys, it was wonderful. We'll see you guys all next week. Everybody, have a great night.
Thanks, brother. Definitely appreciate it. And Wandering Dutch, let's get you on out of here. You just crossed 1,000 subs for your podcast, which is a fantastic. And again, you do put in the hard work. You've done some amazing work within the community. Tell everyone about where they can come and help you now march towards 5,000 subs. And of course, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Certainly. Well, thank you. Amazing panel as always. Loved the tech talk tonight. That's right up my street. But awesome opinions from everybody. Everborn Saga, Middle Age Game Guy, Pong, Tempest, and Asante as always. A great tech talk. Loved it. Of course, unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to play Halo this time round, but again, it was great Halo talk. Loved hearing the enthusiasm, and it's great to have a buzz around that franchise again. So awesome stuff. Speaking of Joe from Song of Iron, boom. We also have him coming back on to the midweek mix-up.
Nice.
The day after launch day, he's going to be jumping onto the show because we're giving
September
away
1st.
Yes, 4 copies of Song of Iron we are giving away to celebrate the launch.
Nice.
I already won one.
Yeah.
Inside joke, but yes.
Yeah, the ban hammer may be lifted for that. I'll let you. But yeah, so 4 copies are given away. Joe will be stopping by, of course. It's going to be a busy day for him. He is so nervous for that release, but I keep trying to reassure him he shouldn't be. That game is absolutely
Game
awesome.
of the year contender, bro.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. It very much inside vibes.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. Really good stuff. But you can find me on Twitter at Wondering Dutch and at YouTube at Wondering Dutch, where we host the Midweek Mix-Up podcast every Wednesday. Currently 7 p.m. BST, that's 2 p.m. EST. That's until, of course, daylight saving wears off, and then it's 3 p.m. EST. So hope to see you all there. Thank you again to everybody and this awesome community that's got us up to 1,000 so far. And of course, that march on to the next milestone. But thank you all again, everybody at the chat and the panel. Awesome night.
Well, thank you for being here. And last and no way least, the guy with the biggest patience, because he puts these models together that not only look awesome, but come with 10,000 parts. Tempest Son, tell everyone about your YouTube channel, where they can check out what you got going on, what you've been up to with, of course, the Gundam model building, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Thanks again, Boom, for having me back. It's good to be back. Panel, you guys did awesome. My job was freaking easy. I just got to say, yeah, what those guys said. Yeah, you did awesome. I sounded smart because of it. But you can follow me at the Tempest Sun on Twitter. There, I have a link to my YouTube channel. Still only have a couple videos up. It's been crazy here lately, dude. Trying to find the time to do anything. In fact, the only time I do have lately is just playing what I can when I can. And I got a cool little story. The whole time I've been on the podcast, I've had visual candy to look at. My wife has been playing Flight Simulator.
Oh,
and
wow.
he's flying over Japan, just chilling, just flying. She's like, wow, this place is really pretty. She's like, where is it? She looks it up. It's Sonambe, I think you pronounce it. Here it's where Miyamoto from Nintendo grew up. So
wow.
hometown. And we're like, oh, that's so cool. So I don't know. If you haven't played Flight Sim yet, I know Wandering Dutch is big on this game, and a lot of other people, but it's like I can't really like describe what it is. It's like it's more than I think ever thought a game could, I guess, be. I know that sounds like I'm capping for it, but man, it is cool. Like I've been to so many cities, I can say now. I know what it looks like around the pyramids in Giza. Like, dude, it's just
awesome.
It's cool. So just try it out if you can. And I think I'm close to beating Scarlet Nexus. And man, I'm just
I have so many games to get back to. That's one of them, dude.
Yeah, I know. That's one of them exactly. And then after that, I am looking forward to Tales of Arise a lot. So I got my Scarlet Nexus and my Tales of Arise, and then everything else in between. It's crazy. It's so good to be like, a fan of this stuff. So yeah, game on, guys. Have a good time.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And of course, I want to thank everyone that tuned in. I have to thank all of the incredible super chats that continue to come in. I mean, obviously, folks, we're, when I say I'm not owed anything, I truly mean that. Yes, I work hard. Yes, I have 4 live shows. And yes, I put a tremendous amount of effort into making sure these are fun. But I don't expect anything. And of course, generosity continues to humble me every time someone drops a super chat or becomes a channel member. I want to thank you so much. That allows me and Mrs. Boomstick to do all these crazy giveaways. And like I said, last year we gave over $5,000 worth of stuff away over the course of the year. And we're probably going to match that again, or at least match it towards the end of the year. We do the Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. That's going to be big. And we're also going to be doing Boom's birthday bash, where it's going to be my birthday at the end of September, but I don't get the presents. You get the presents, and we're making the announcement of that much, much later, as we get closer to the end of September. But listen, folks, once again, thank you so much for being here. And I want to say that, tune in tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're an Xbox fan, if Song of Iron is something you're looking forward to, we're going to have that developer live on the air, not only talking about his game, but talking about other topics and just hanging out with us for the 2 hours. And that show goes live 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, I'll close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my father taught us when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules. And I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode and potentially shorter episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends. Take care, everyone.